Oh, yeah. Morning, everybody. Song hits different after a Padres dub, that is for sure. That's Queens of the Stone Age, Better Living Through Chemistry. And we'll get to that in a moment. I'm Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl. Well, hang on. Start over. We're Ben and Woods. We're on 97.3 The Fan. Thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, welcome in. Glad to have you. And you can come and see what all the fuss is about. Because there's a lot of fuss about this program sometimes. Huh? Yeah, there's fuss. There's fuss. Good fuss, bad fuss. I'm Woodsy, and I'm the co-host of this program. Paul Reindl is our executive producer, our YouTube Scorsese, getting us all dialed in. You can watch us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search Ben and Woods, and you can see us and watch us. You see, I just picked my nose a little bit, like right in the intro, like had a little hanger. I found the older I get, the more boogers I have, and it's not cool. The hair is growing way faster, ears and nose. Like I shave it on Monday with my little trimmer, and by Wednesday, it's like a full thatch of ear hair and nose. My wife, every day, trim your nose hairs. You're disgusting. And I just boogers. It's awful. Getting older has been a real challenge. For me. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Also, our Secretary of Homeland Exploration, in that he likes to take vacations and explore the homeland a lot. Now, the name of that song, Ben, Better Living Through Chemistry, and have been a big subscriber to that for many, many years myself. And, have some medications that I take. They're all doctor prescribed. I no longer really dip my toe into the illegal medications very much, as it were. And Ben tried yesterday some Better Living Through Chemistry. What's it like to be a drug addict now, like the rest of us?
I'm the opposite of you. For whatever reason, I try to avoid medication as much as I can. I mean, I take some pills, obviously, but even Advil, I don't want to overdo it. I've always
overdose.
I've always heard you don't want to, take too much Advil. It can be bad for your liver. So I've tried to limit myself. Even in my pain that I've been having, my back pain, I waited until the absolute very worst just to take 2 of them, and that's it. That's all I'll let myself take during the day.
You don't do preventative Advil before a round of golf?
Sometimes I've done that if I haven't taken it in a while, but I don't want to get addicted. I don't want to take too much of it.
Okay. Do you know how much Advil you'd have to take to damage yourself?
I don't know that. I assume it's a lot. 4 or 5.
Every 6 hours for the next 40 years is about what you'd need to take to really do damage.
I'm safe then.
Because you've built up so much.
I try to limit myself to no more than 2 every few days.
Your liver looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger's bicep. He's you're fine.
Maybe I should be a little more free with the chemistry is what you're saying.
I think so.
But yes, I did try some CBD cream yesterday.
You're a drug addict now.
Is that I am?
Yes. Look at him.
I'm told that it doesn't have
so free.
It doesn't have the same effects.
I was kidding with you. I didn't know you would actually do it.
It's the THC that's what gives you that high feeling apparently from marijuana, not the CBD.
Correct. I'm joking.
That's a totally different product apparently.
Now I am a big believer in CBD cream. I've taken CBD gummies before. And those actually, there's the other thing I used to do when I played baseball a lot, when I was playing on 4 different teams. I had a CBD vape pen, and I would, before an AB, I would hit the vape pen, and it didn't there was no THC, so it was just CBD. And buddy, I would go up there and feel supremely relaxed, confident, locked in. It was really kind of a cool thing.
Don't you think that perhaps that's psychosomatic though?
Potentially.
That's just you believing that something works, so you make it true in your own mind.
But I use the CBD roll-on my back, my lower back, before a round of golf or before a baseball game. I lube up my arm with the CBD, and it feels good. I like the way it feels. But I've always been an Icy Hot fan, and Tiger Balm and all the salves you can have in your bag.
I love that word.
I do too.
Salve.
I've had. I'm very savvy with the salves, so I'm a big fan. Good for you. It's your first foray into the CBD.
My trainer, I iced it. I even used the like not quite a roller, but on the side, on the back to try to push it, and then some CBD cream to, it helped a little bit yesterday.
Do you
Oh
roll?
my God, I'm high.
Do you roll? You don't roll anything, but have you ever tried to like smash your butt?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
Smash
you need.
my butt.
Smash your butt with the ball or a foam roller, because then it'll loosen up the back. It's all connected. The whole body is connected. That's
I was
what
actually
learned,
using
at
the
least.
wall to kind
Yeah.
of do some of that yesterday, some stretches and exercises.
Good.
Helped a little bit. Still feeling it, of course. But I want to thank everybody who also reached out.
Well, I was reading in your recap here. I don't know why I believe it, but I know that I do. Said worked on my back with ice and CBD cream. It helped some, but still dealing with intermittent pain. Foster reached out with a possible cause to the pain. If Foster reaches out with any solutions for the pain, that's when you run. Man, just take one of these. It won't hurt you. Just take one. Boy, you're going to feel good. I'm telling you.
No, he actually
You ain't
didn't.
never slept.
It wasn't a medical solution, but he was very excited to let me know.
Just so
because
you know, he's not a doctor.
I realized that, but he was convinced he knew the cause of the problem.
They call me the pharmacist
and
in
the
Bressie.
potential solution. And he said, I think because this happened to me, he said, so I think this might be what's happening to you. Do you put your wallet in your back pockets and then have it in there all day? Because that can cause back pain if you're sitting on it all day. And I think he was absolutely sure. Because I've got the dad wallet that's probably too thick for me. And
Me too.
I think he was thinking that sounds just
How big
like
is your
Ben.
wallet? Let me see.
My wallet is, if everyone wants to look on the YouTube stream,
Mine's pretty thick.
mine's
Paulie's a little
mine's
thicker.
very thick.
You guys are both thicker than I am.
Yeah.
Wallet-wise,
But
at least.
as you saw me pull it out, I keep it in my front pocket on the left, and the back pain is back right. So I don't think, despite Foster's best intentions, that is actually my issue, is having my wallet in my back pocket.
And that's fine. But just if he gives you something, don't take it.
Okay.
Okay. Because it's probably some sort of illegal Percocet
Laced with fentanyl.
that
I'm going to
he
have to
made in
take
his
one of those
bathroom.
nose spray Narcans to
Yes.
avoid dying
Yes.
or something.
So
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Anything he hands you, just, oh, thanks, bud. And then just throw it away so that kids can't get
Right.
to it, because you just never know.
Safely
Wear gloves.
dispose.
Wear gloves,
Yeah.
yes.
Don't let it trace back to you
That's
in
exactly
any way.
right. So yeah, I would just stay away. No, back pain is no good. I've been lucky, knock on wood. I haven't really had much of it. The hair though is really, for me, is my biggest problem.
I'm the opposite. Would you be surprised to learn I have never trimmed my nose hairs in my life?
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
And
you don't have
feel like I have a problem with it.
you see mine now, right?
You look okay right now.
Do I?
I don't see anything at the moment.
Dude, I'm driving to work like yanking nose hairs out of my nose. But you're not hairy. You don't ever get even hair on your face. This sucks, dude. My ear hair, it's all back in there.
Is that an older guy thing?
That's what happens, man.
Because I don't have any nose hair,
Oh, you will.
ear hair.
Strap in, dude. Everything is worse, Paulie. I told you this a couple years ago.
I've heard
I
the
came
more
in
you
here,
trim them, though, the thicker and
and
bigger they
bushier.
come back. Yeah.
I told you a couple years ago. You're young.
Bush.
Take care of yourself when you're young, because then you get old and you're like, I'm falling off a cliff a little bit. Did my listen to us? We're like, it's like listening to geriatric radio. But because good morning, everyone.
Does anyone want to know where the best buffets are that open at 4 p.m.?
Actually, I would like to know where a buffet is. I've been longing for a buffet. I did my sleep study part 2 last night. I did it the first one, and I failed. I sent it off, mailed it in, the whole bit. I said, all right, I'm done with this. They're going to send me my sleep apnea machine. It didn't work. Okay, so they sent me another one. So I did it last night. And like, make sure you sleep on your back. I don't sleep on my back. So I fell asleep like this. I woke up, everything was done. I don't know if it worked, but I hit the button, saw the green wheel, had to take everything off this morning, the tubes out of my nose, and sent it off today. So hopefully I get the results back and they just send me a machine. It's terrible.
So old.
This is terrible.
This is such old man talk this
It's the
morning.
worst.
You know what? I'll just throw it out there. Watched the Padres game last night. Watched the end of the basketball game. Turned on some Sports Center. It was I was boring, and I just didn't. I was at work, and I was flipping through the channels. Ended up on Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, my hemorrhoids really flared
Jessica
up last night too.
Fletcher solved the crime again. Very satisfying.
Sean in the chat says, "Yeah, I think Paulie knows getting old sucks. He has to work with these old guys every day." So
Very,
the
very
two most
true.
decrepit 47 and 8-year-olds in San Diego
I
right
got
now.
like arthritis in my hand. Like
My
Paulie,
God.
when I was
Get it
22,
together.
when I was 22, 23, I was a dynamo. I couldn't be stopped. Like I was a bundle of raw energy everywhere I went. The
Better
life
what-
of the party.
Better Woods brought to you by the AARP.
Brought to you by Geritol. Why Geritol? Simply the best for your old ass. Yeah, great win last night. Very, good spirits. We're gonna get into all of that.
Surprised you guys stayed up so late. And saw the ninth inning at 7:00 or whatever it was.
I do like those. East Coast games. They get early, and I was in bed by 7:30, which is exactly where I need to be. But we'll talk about all of it. You get a win, and we don't complain about wins, just like we don't complain about pars or sex with our wives. We enjoy all of those. That said, you look at some of the things that they're doing, and you're like, all right, it still hasn't sunk in to you guys, right? Like you guys still are you're not firing on all cylinders yet. There's two instances last night where I went, oh my God, it's a manager's nightmare. Like two instances where 100% a manager is like, I got to take Tums now. I have to take Tums.
You know what I learned about myself? I finally realized that when the team is winning, I tend to be more critical. And when the team is losing, I tend to be more
forgiving.
Optimistic. It's weird. I'm always trying to bring things out to the middle. It's never quite as bad or quite as good as you want to think it is. So yesterday, even though they were winning, I kept kind of poking holes as I'm watching the game and, things that I'm still concerned about. Obviously, no hits with runners in scoring position, things like that. So I feel like I watch with a more critical eye when they're winning. And then when we're losing, it's like, okay, I know it's not this bad. Come on, there's no way that this team is as bad as what's been happening lately. Let's go a little lighter on them. Let's go a little easier on them. I tend to do that as I'm watching Padres baseball.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain, but there are things that we need to point out that really still need to be cleaned up, with this baseball team. And I think you probably can guess what I'm talking about. And we'll get into all of that. We've got a daily ditty selection from listener Steve. It's a really good one. One of my favorite songs. And he beat my ass in Take on Woods on Monday. So he earned that selection. So this one's for you, Steve. And we got Adam Jones coming up at 7:35.
We try to have younger friends to keep us younger, like Adam Jones.
Yeah, no doubt. He played professional sports for as long as he did. I bet you he still feels fine. Like he's in such good shape. That's the problem. When you're out of shape, things start to fall apart.
God, almost all of our guests are younger than you guys.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's exactly right.
Most people now, it feels like, are younger than us
true.
as well. We also had an incorporator yesterday with Jesse Agler. If you missed it, Paulie has pulled Jesse incorporating the word obelisk into last night's broadcast. An obelisk is another word for the division sign.
Yes. The line with the dots on either side.
Yeah, one dot on top, one dot on the bottom, and a flat line. How did he work that into the game last night?
Brilliant.
We'll find out right after the Daily Ditty coming up next as we get started on a Wednesday. Glad to have everybody with us. It is Ben and Woods. Let's get our first check of traffic with Kelly Danik, and then we're off and running here on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
God, so good. Still, 40 years later, so good. I miss when music had a little danger behind it. When we were little kids, Ben, somebody told me AC/DC stood for After Christ, Devil Comes. That's not at all. They were not devil worshippers, just some hard partying lads from Australia.
What does it stand for? I always thought it was alternating current, direct current.
Yeah,
just the two types of electricity.
It's just a cool name. AC/DC. No, it's After Christ, Devil Comes. Okay. And then you hear Highway to Hell. You're like, see?
You know, like most rock bands, good rock bands, they were a little before my time.
Yes.
You know, early 80s, late 70s, right?
Yep.
I was born in 90. But going back and appreciating rock and roll, they're like top 2 or 3 for me. I love like every one of their songs.
They're unbelievable.
Who's their drummer?
I don't know, actually.
Because for whatever reason, like the drums just feel like it hits differently in a lot of their songs.
You got Brian Johnson replaced Bon Scott, who choked on his own vomit and died. Very rare to have, and Bon Scott was great. Very rare to have the guy come in and be as good-ish as the front man that died and continue on their massive legacy. You got Angus Young, you got Malcolm Young. I want to say his name's there's a Cliff in there somewhere, but I don't know who the drummer was, Paulie. That's the one.
That's right. Their brothers,
Angus and Malcolm.
We had a siblings theme.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
Phil Rudd.
Is there a Cliff in the band?
Cliff Williams.
Cliff Williams, thank you. I knew there was a
bassist Cliff Williams.
Okay, there you go. The other part of the rhythm section. I do miss a little danger in my rock and roll because it just doesn't really exist anymore. Really not allowed to because everyone's on TikTok. So I don't think AC/DC would have been TikToking, but great rock and roll band. Great selection from listener Steve for our daily ditty.
So it's like destinations, vacation kind of theme. Is he on the highway to hell? Are we on the highway to hell?
Who is?
I'm asking. That was Steve's selection.
Oh, yeah, vacation.
Oh, vacation.
Yeah, remember.
It is a
destination.
It is.
Yeah, hell.
It's not maybe, where I'd pick to spend my
is he saying
weekend
he
off.
is on the
I
highway
think
to
you're
hell,
good. You're of all
on
of
the
us,
highway
you're
to hell.
good. It's like
It's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah, Pity City. Like the great Nikki Sixx said, if you're gonna miss it, don't miss it by an inch. If you're gonna miss heaven, don't miss it by an inch. Which always stuck in my mind. That's a great song. But yeah, I guess he's technically right. That is a destination.
So before we get to our Padres wrap up from last night's win, it was an Incorporator Tuesday. Jesse Agler joined us in our 8 o'clock hour yesterday, and at the end of the conversation, as we do every week, we give him his Incorporator word, and this was the selection yesterday.
He did not run this one by me, Jesse.
No,
this
is going to be a surprise to Woods. Paul's got it, though. He's going to play it for you right now, Jesse.
Obelisk.
Obelisk.
Oh.
Obelus.
Obelisk. I've heard of obelisk.
No, it's not an obelisk. That's like you get a lot of those in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, there's a lot of obelisks.
This is not that. An obelisk. It's the division sign. It's the official name for a division sign.
Wow, I had no idea.
The dot, the line, the dot underneath.
Coolest sign,
dot,
by the
line,
way.
Dot. That's an obelisk.
Obelisk.
First of all, I am so excited to know that there's a name for this.
Me too. Me too.
So I was glad just to delight Jesse just with the choice of the word yesterday. But really, I had no idea. Sometimes when I give him a word, I'll think, here's how I would do it, but I had no clue.
No, it was a tough one.
It could come in like somehow with the statistics of baseball, but still not going to be an easy word to work in. So
yeah, this was in the middle of a fairly lengthy conversation that he and Tony Gwynn Jr. were having yesterday. So it was the bottom of the 5th inning, and they were talking about player contracts.
Got it.
Guys like a Juan Soto, guys like a Blake Snell, like these guys enjoy doing what they do, and the money part is a result of them being good at what they do, but that's not their first thought when it comes to the game of baseball.
0-2 again from Darvish to Dominic Smith, the former Met. You delivers, and a line drive up the middle into center field for a base hit. 1 out single for the Washington first baseman. Yeah, I feel like so often when we're talking about the complex equations of player contracts and salaries, it's about money. But the equation is more complicated than that, I think, for a lot of guys. There's a lot of, parentheses and multiplication signs and obelisks as you're trying to figure out, okay, there's money, there's geography, there's playing time. And for some guys, the equation is more complex.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Tony,
He's
of course. Yeah,
absolutely.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Jesse. We
Well said.
discuss obelisks all the time in the Gwynn household, and I'm not going to call you out on using that word during the broadcast last night. It was a conversation, though, I was reading about earlier this week. Joe Musgrove talking about the fact that a lot of fans think, oh, yeah, Manny got his money, Joe got his money, Jake got his money, and all of a sudden, boom, they don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. They don't need to try as hard. And Joe was saying it's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. You feel the need to justify your money, to try to work harder, press harder. It's not what a lot of fans think it is when players struggle after signing a big contract.
I'm trying to. I mean, look, there's one example. There's one example. I know of one example that did that. That got his bag and stopped trying. You know who it is. Paul, you know who it is. Everybody out there listening, you probably know who it is. He's out of baseball right now. I've seen it happen. These aren't those guys. These aren't those guys. The Manny Machados of the world, the Jake Cronenworths of the world, the Joe Musgroves of the world. They may not always execute to perfection. They may have really, really bad weeks. They may have bad months. They will have bad months. I can promise you that in this game. It's not because they don't care. And it's not from a lack of effort. And it's not from a lack of want to. It's just not. Those guys do exist. And he played here. And, the effort was not there anymore. And, that's confirmed. So this isn't those guys. And you notice that he's out of a job and off this team. That's nothing to worry about with this squad. They're trying almost too hard. But last night was found a way that to win a ball game. And it was by hitting the long ball and hitting a lot of them. And it was fantastic. And Brandon Dixon, who I've been just trumpeting as the next big thing, finally broke out. You can't even say it with a straight face. I would, anybody else in here, raise your hand if you looked at the lineup and went, oh my another start. I did. I 100% did. I was telling my wife I didn't want to be lineup guy, but I was like, Gore. Lefties actually hit better off of Gore. So why is Brandon Dixon in there? Why I'm here? Why they're there?
I did like, and we'll get into this, but I also liked that Bob Melvin aggressively switched.
Yeah, so
to Rougned Odor, who
yeah.
I really do feel like is locked in right now.
He's feeling pretty good.
For whatever Rougned Odor is or is not at age 29 after 10 years in the big leagues, right now
he's kind of starting to fit in, man.
He's one of your better offensive options, and
like we all said, I
want to see him out there as much as possible. At least in this moment in time, Rougned Odor should be in the lineup pretty much every day right now. He's more than a platoon player. With Manny out, I'd like to see him on the field on a regular basis. Defensively, he's all right. And offensively, he's putting together some of the better swings on the team right now. And I think he can do it against lefties as well, if needed be. So I'm glad that Brandon Dixon got a home run, but I'd like to see Rougned Odor in the lineup more right now for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, I think you will. But mostly out of necessity, but also, Ben, because he's playing pretty well right now. So ride the hot hand as much as you can.
All guests on Men and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. We'll hear all of Jesse's calls of 4 home runs and a 7-4 victory over the Washington Nationals in our Padres wrap-up. That's coming up right after this on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Ted gives the team no curfew, night off. So
Night off.
they all decide what they want to do, and they want to do it all as a team, whatever it is. And the Padres, I guess, had a bit of a Ted Lasso night on Monday night in Washington, D.C. Was just reading about that. Little team activity, Woodsy. You like that? Like to see that?
I do.
Guys getting together on their off day as a group?
I do. And I do feel that it's important. It's interesting. We were talking about it at the break. So from Kevin Acey's piece this morning, sends out the daily newsletter, really good stuff. We kite a lot of it for our show because he's there. He's getting all this info and he's sending it out. And we got it.
I mean, it would be great if we were traveling with the team every single
this
day.
Was my story from last night, but
that would be difficult to do as well. So we appreciate that they have his coverage and he is with the team on the road trip.
Said a lot of guys slept in to start the team's off day, which can't blame them for that. I 100% would agree. Said some met up with family. A few took in some sights in the nation's capital. Then most of them got together to watch the Nuggets and Lakers play in the Western Conference Finals. Veteran players acknowledged it's not imperative that they're buddies. What matters is what happens on the field. Rugi said, you don't have to be friends to be a good teammate. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. But players do contend that knowing each other on a deeper level can help at various times, such as when things get really, really tough. And Joe says, I don't think it's necessity for winning, but when you're struggling, things aren't going right, you're not having fun doing what we're doing, you go out and you try to create the fun somewhere else in the hopes that it will lift everyone's spirits. I can really go either way on it. I really can. I forced activities for me that's never how to win me over. It's never, ever like forcing me to, all right, we're doing, beer and burgers and I'm kind of a guy that marches to my own beat, but I will admit, when you're part of a team, it is pretty important. Like a big team. It's the three of us. We go out and play golf together, and we really enjoy it when I played golf, when Paulie played golf. We used to really enjoy that. And, but there are times when you're like, I want some me time. And I think that's all right too.
I'd like to think of myself as a pretty good teammate. And I know this is going to shock you though.
That does shock me.
I have never been someone who makes really friends at work. You guys, I have gotten much closer to the two of you than I have really any of my other colleagues. Craig Elston, way back in the day, we're friends, still friends today, worked very closely. But over the years, I have a good relationship with my colleagues at the TV station and at other radio stations I've worked at, but we don't really hang together outside of the confines of work. It's at least very rare when that happens. I've enjoyed becoming a little closer to you guys, but I'm not going to say that I did it. It's you, Woods, who kind of drives that. That's more important to you. And I've kind of come along for the ride and enjoyed it. But no, I don't think it's important that you have to be friends with your colleagues to be a good teammate and to be successful at whatever work that you do.
And it's got to come naturally, right? Like when Paulie and I started playing golf a lot, where you're a golfer, and that was an easy fix. Like, cool, let's just go play golf together. And I would always say I really love working with two guys that I can feel excited about after we turn the mics off and, go knock out what we need to knock out, heading to the golf course together, and then spending the day together, not talking about work, talking about golf or talking about our lives or, being dads or whatever, Paulie getting married, all of that stuff. That stuff is important. We are brothers. There's no question. I look at you guys like brothers. With baseball, we were just talking earlier in the week about how it may be the one sport where at least hitting wise, you just have a job to do. And if you do your job, then you're fine. Like everybody needs to pull their weight in the lineup. And it doesn't matter that, hey, Ben, we're going to hit really well today because we went and saw that new movie last night. Like it just doesn't work that way. Unless you're playing second and I'm playing short and I can look at you and give you a wink and to back pick a guy or whatever, like that stuff's important. But when you're in the lineup and you're trying to hit and the guy's throwing 97, you're just trying to do your job and hope the next guy drives you in. That's really what it boils down to. So,
and of course, defensively, the Padres have been outstanding.
They've been great.
Most outs above average in the league, fewest errors in the league by a wide margin. So the part of the game that you might think is chemistry related, the Padres have been outstanding at. Hitting, the part that really isn't, is of course where they've struggled.
It is weird though, because in the AC piece, he does say almost every player showed up at the establishment. Me, Well, I desperately want to know who didn't show up. Desperately. And I won't. I will never know who wasn't there. But I have gone through pictures before and been like, all right, check him off. Who's the lone wolf out there? I have my theories on who it is, but I'm not going to say.
Some guys just want to stay in, have room service, and do nothing at night.
Which is absolutely fine
too. It's
sometimes
a long season.
You got to, when we go to spring training, we're not out raging every night. I'm in my bed at 6:00. Why? Because I have no kids, no wife. I'm just solo. And it's nice to go in there and shut it down for a while. So I don't begrudge these guys, whatever they want to do on the road. As long as you keep winning ball games and hitting home runs, man, everything is gravy.
Looking forward to hearing some home run calls from Jesse Agler in our Padres wrap-up. We will get to that right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Got a few things to watch out for in your travels. Northbound 805 before the 54, collision over the right shoulder. Watch out for some debris reported in lanes. Also a stalled vehicle on the transition westbound King Freeway at the stop on 805. And a stall on the Coronado Bridge. This is heading over to the island about mid-span. It's in that left lane. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's choice. They're a different kind of dealership looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet, find new roads. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben & Woods.
Go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner.
This about damn time.
3-2 hit in the air to deep right field. Thomas is back. He is at the wall. He leaps up. It's going to go. An opposite field home run for Xander Bogaerts. 7th of the season. And after he did not muster a hit against Boston over the weekend, he comes to D.C. and gives the Padres a 2-0 lead. Left-hand pitcher, right-hand batter. First pitch swinging. Dixon hits one in the air to deep right center field. Alex Call goes back. Looks up. Gonna go. Brandon Dixon the other way. Over the big, tall wall here in Washington. Couple of rows up over that out-of-town scoreboard. And Brandon Dixon's first home run of the season will extend the Padre lead. It's 3-0. Darvish, a very long pause. Now the pitch, and Abrams hits it in the air deep down the right field line. This one way back, gonna go. Second deck over the Nationals bullpen. C.J. Abrams, his 5th home run of the year, a 2-run shot, and this is a 1-run game. Darvish kicks and deals, and this one hit in the air to deep left field. Juan Soto goes back. He is at the wall, and it will go. Back-to-back home runs. C.J. Abrams and Lane Thomas. And this game is tied 3-3. Here's the 0-2. That's hit hard in the air into shallow right field. Long run, Lane Thomas coming in on the move. He gets there to make the catch. Tagging at third, Odor. Here's the throw. It's cut off by Smith. Both runners advance, and the Padres take the lead. 1-1 to Soto. Juan hits this one in the air to deep right center field. Call goes back, looking up, gonna go! Welcome back, Juan Soto. Team leading 9th home run of the year, his 3rd hit of the night, and the Padres extend the lead. It's 5-3. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Cronenworth hits one in the air. Deep to right field. Thomas backing up, trying to measure it at the wall, turns around, and it is either off the top of the wall or just over the fence. Bogaerts ends up stopping at third. Cronenworth into second with a double. Boy, I sure thought it got over the metal railing that is on top of the green padded wall. There's the 0-2 swing and a line drive into right center field. Fernando not going to get there. That'll split the gap. Going to go up against the base of the wall. Tatis picks it up. Garcia rounding third. He'll score as the throw from Fernando kicked off of Odor's glove. That ruined any chance they were going to have for a relay to the plate. An RBI double for Joey Meneses. And the Nationals have gotten one back. 7-4 Padres now in the 8th inning. Hader will fire. The ball is popped up. Left side of the infield. Bogaerts comes in from shortstop. just in front of the infield grass. He'll make the two-handed catch, and the ball game is over. Padres have won their second straight as the road trip is off to a fine start. A 7-4 win over the Nationals here tonight.
You trade 4 home runs for hits with runners in scoring position?
I just looked at that. I noticed that. Yeah. We had some homers. They're in scoring position where they're home plate, right?
Yeah, drive yourself in. That's one way to do it. And
Can't
Padres
argue with
got
that logic.
4 of them yesterday in a 7-4 win over the Washington Nationals. Big day for Juan Soto. 3 for 4, hit his 9th home run of the season. Got a nice ovation before his first at bat. Got a chance to tip his cap, thank the fans in Washington. Of course, he went back last year in August, right after the trade. But I think this was a little more, wasn't so close to it. I was able to kind of appreciate it a little bit more. Certainly likes hitting in Washington, D.C. No doubt about that. He feels very comfortable.
Very cozy in that batter's box. I loved what he said after the game too. I mean, again, you forget he's still a young man, a very, very young man. It started his Major League Baseball career at a very young age, and he told Scan, he said that batter's box is where my dreams came true. I realized my dreams in that batter's box. That's where it all started for me. And man, it got me a little bit. It's you think about that, and what a road it's been for him. It's been pretty crazy. And to watch how he has willed himself and worked his tail off to get out of, he looked lost. He looked as lost as a human could look, a month ago. And to watch see where his numbers are, to see that swing last night, those swings last night. He said, I feel really, really good. And I'm just very close. Like even yesterday, he said one more thing, locking in to where he wants to be. I know it irks some Padres fans to hear him talk about how much he loves Washington and how much he loves his teammates. It's like your girlfriend talks about her previous boyfriend in glowing terms. It doesn't feel great when that happens, but you can't blame him for enjoying his time there. He won a World Series with the Washington Nationals.
He
was close, came up through the system with those people, became his friends, became his first real baseball family.
I feel like if you have,
you're not supposed to all of a sudden just hate everybody just because you were traded to across the country.
He's not in radio.
But it does have that feeling like, oh, yeah, well, you're with me now. Why do you keep talking so nicely about your ex?
You never have to worry about that with me, Ben, ever.
You don't ever talk nicely about your ex.
There's not one of them that I miss. Not one. Not in the slightest.
Here's a clip of Juan after the game in the clubhouse yesterday, and he was talking about playing back in D.C. and kind of what you were talking about, Ben, like, yes, he went back last year after being traded, but he was talking about like that was more sad than anything else. Like he was sad to be traded. And that's not a knock on being traded to San Diego. That was home for him.
It was a little different, Definitely last year was a little bit more emotional. This year was, emotional, but it was more like happy. Like I feel more happy instead of being sad or being traded or anything like that. I was more excited to be out there and play for those fans instead of feel sad or I get traded.
Maybe, part of the Padres struggles. It's just the simple fact that it takes people time to adjust to new surroundings and new experiences. And Juan Soto going to be a big part of this team. He's finally starting to come around. I mean, it's a very encouragering sign for the Padres seeing what Juan Soto is doing.
Oh my God. Off the bat,
441 feet. Yeah.
And again, listen, it's the night he put together 3 for 4, bomb, 2 runs scored, a walk, and an RBI. What's his OPS now?
Getting close to 900, I think.
Yeah,
now at this point,
if not over. That's what else do you want right now at this point from Juan Soto? And there's some encouraging things. Brandon Dixon running into one is awesome, but Xander Bogaerts getting the guys on the board early. Getting a little bit of the pressure off and not letting things mount and snowball. Nice to see Xander get some knocks last night. Very, very clutch. 2 for 5 with a bomb, 2 runs scored, 2 ribs. Fantastic night for him. Yu Darvish gutted it out, man. He did what he does. He went 6 innings, gave up only 3 hits, 1 walk. The hits he gave up, it sucked. It sucked letting them back into the ball game, but the boys picked them up, and that's what a good team does. And that's how you can tell they're breaking out of it a little bit right now, and love to see the long balls flying out though.
Jake Soto's OPS is 905.
I just got it over 900 last night. Very nice. Jake
Jake
has been taking his walks, and he did early in the game yesterday. it sometimes feels like it can be one or another. Either you're taking walks or you're hitting, but doing both is hard. And to see him last night both take his walks and then find a pitch to hit and drive it over the wall, that to me was maybe the most encouraging thing I saw last night was Jake Cronenworth's at bats in that game. So offensively, a lot of exciting things, even though, yes, the Padres went 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position again. And I think it's still in their heads a little bit. The go-ahead sacrifice fly by Fernando Tatis Jr. in the, what was it, the 5th inning after they had just come back to tie the game, 6th inning. The Nationals had just tied it.
All right, we need to talk about that.
Yeah, we need to talk about.
We've done the good. Hitting 4 home runs is great. Scoring 7 runs, getting Gore out early, getting into the bullpen, all fantastic work. What in the world are we thinking on the base paths? What in the world is happening right now with our base?
Oh, I think I know. I think I know what's happening. And
you better not say pressing.
We can discuss it. When we come back, we'll also play some Take on Woods to kick off hour number 2 next on San Diego's #1 sports station.
Let's get negative.
97.3 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. Just see what you missed. Click, listen on demand. It's guest, feature, anything else that happened earlier. We got you covered. Download the free Odyssey app, AUDACY. Search 97.3 The Fan. It tapped earlier today to get started. I know that some people would say, why would you get negative after a win? But I think sometimes I stay positive after a loss. So I think it's fair to point out the mistakes and the flaws that happen even in a victory. We're not, I know you said never complain about a win, and I'm not going to complain about a win.
No. But I think if you're looking at, when we do we call it SWOT, SWOT. That's what we call it. They call it in the sales world sometimes: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Weakness last night and really lately, I think, has been the base running. And, basically, my beef, I think, this morning is with Nelly Cruz in the first inning, getting back picked at first base with a runner on second base. He's also 76 years old. He's been in the league since 1948. You have veterans on your team to not do that. That's why you get veterans, because veterans don't get back picked to ruin an early rally. The magic number for me with the San Diego Padres this year has been 2. Seemingly in my mind, we get 2 runs and we're like, cool, let's see what happens. And next thing you know, you're down 4-2 or 3-2. 2 has been that like hump. When we do score, it's the max that we can score in an inning, it feels. So you murder that rally by getting back picked, which is I don't know what happened there. Senior moment, whatever. You just forgot about the scouting report. Catcher who likes to do that. It's a mistake. Well, okay. It can't happen. That's why if it happens to Brandon Dixon, you go, Rook. Nelly Cruz has been in the league since 1975. He knows what's going on, right? You have to know how important you are on base, right? You do. Like that can't happen. I know. I agree with you. And we don't know what happened. I mean, he may have turned and tripped or whatever. I have no idea. What? That's got to be cleaned up, right? And he knows that. Now, it worked out, but it worked out because of the I don't want to say stupidity, but there's no other word for it. There's really no other word for the stupidity of Dom Smith, cutting off a ball. Rugi Odor trying to score on a deep fly out to second base. Most second basemen can make that play. That dude, Lane Thomas, comes up firing a seed to home plate. Rugi was tagging. He would have been out by 25 feet. I mean, when Dom cut it, he was like halfway to the plate. If that ball goes through, that's an easy out. I understand the need to try to make something happen, to try to create a run here and there. And maybe the breaks, they caught a break. I guess that's one way we can look at it. I said on yesterday's show, none of the breaks are going the Padres' ways. Balls are hitting off the bag. Balls are carrying back to the catcher. Things aren't falling their way. Man, he's out by 30 feet, though, if that ball goes through. So, again, Rugi Odor, he's a veteran. He's got to know that's not a ball I can tag on. He made it, and the run counted, and Fernando gets credit for a sacrifice fly. I was wondering if perhaps he was told to go by the third base coach. Like, potentially. I mean, that's the opportunity. If there's any coaching that goes on, hey, let's be aggressive. Let's try something here. And ultimately, to me, the concern that I have in that situation is that you have so little faith in your number 2 hitter who's coming up next. Ha-Seong Kim was batting in the 2 hole. Yep. And you have so little faith that your 2 hitter is going to get a hit with a runner in scoring position that you make an objectively bad decision to go there. And again, it worked out. And I know that, there was talk, hey, you place aggressive baseball. Sometimes good things happen. Sure. You force the other team to perhaps make a mistake. I still don't think that was a good decision either by Odor or by Matt Williams at third base coaching. Whatever the decision was, that's not something you want to see repeated throughout the season. But the reason they did it, to me, was very obvious. Not any faith that they're going to get a hit with runners in scoring position, especially with Kim coming up against
a high leverage reliever in with 2 outs in that situation.
And that's
symptomatic of a bigger problem right now for the Padres.
Yeah, it is. And man, it's like, I don't want to rip the guys for being aggressive but there's the difference between the line between aggressive and dumb is very thin. It's very thin. What do we always say on the show?
Fernando Tatis did it a couple of days ago, trying to stretch a single to a double, trying to be aggressive,
and just kills you.
Probably hit on the wrong side of dumb.
Yep.
It is a thin line, but
it's
there.
Such a thin line, but the line does exist. And I mean, I guess I always want to err on the side of hustle and trying to make things happen, but man, it's just a dumb play. And I do understand you got to know your opponent, right? And hey man, it's the Washington Nationals. They're not supposed to be very good. Let's make this kid make a play. But it's not like Rugi Odor some burner either. Like he would have been out by 30 feet.
Well, a team that's not hitting 184 with runners in scoring position, and that's what the Padres are hitting.
Yeah.
They don't even think about going there. They go, we'll just wait and get a hit with our next at bat.
100%.
We're not
move the line.
Yeah, it's like, well, we didn't get it this time, but we'll probably get a hit in our next at bat because we have confidence it's going to happen. Right now, the Padres have no confidence that they're going to get a hit with runners in scoring position. And the reason for that is fairly obvious. It's because they don't get any of them. And they haven't got any of them all season long. We thought it was ridiculous when they were hitting 200 with runners in scoring position. They're now down to 184. It's preposterous.
It really is.
What is going on right now with the San Diego Padres? How can you get 12 hits, 4 home runs, extra base hits,
but not one
You're
knock
hitting up and down the lineup yesterday, and not one of them come with a runner in scoring position? It blows your mind what is happening right now.
It's truly baffling. It really is. It really, really is truly baffling. So, but that being said, listen, I got to imagine, Bob has talked to Rugi and talked to Matt Williams and talked to Nelly Cruz, and you're just running into outs.
You're probably saying, let's be a little more aggressive. I agree with that. Yeah. I do.
That said, you got to pick your moments for being aggressive, man. I just,
Hey, they scored. It worked out.
They scored, worked out. But yeah, 0 for 9 runners in scoring position. It's a broken record. It's a broken record I'm tired of hearing. I'm sure they're tired of talking about it too. But hey, listen, you hit 4 bombs, good things happen, and some runners on and all that. So great. 7-4 win is what it shook out to. Josh Hader comes in, gets his first save, Ben, since Cinco de Mayo. And nice to see Josh Hader get back in that column. Still remaining dominant, and that's been phenomenal.
Got one more negative thing to address. First, we need a contestant for Take on Woods. If you want to play here in about 2 minutes, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, our musical trivia challenge on the way next. Yu Darvish was actually very good last night, but his outing was unfortunately very similar to several other outings we've seen from Padres starting pitchers this season, and that is they're really good for 95% of the at-bats, but for whatever reason, they give up 1 or 2 big hits in exactly the wrong moment, and oftentimes it turns what could be a win into a loss.
Yeah.
Joe Musgrove has had that several times where he's been really, really good for the most part, but except for that 3-run home run that came after a defensive miscue. Well, yesterday, Yu Darvish was cruising into the 5th inning, and then all of a sudden, brain fart for 2 batters, and the game is tied on back-to-back home runs by C.J. Abrams and Layden Thomas. This is something that is continuing to happen with Padres starting pitching. Really good starting pitching that gets undone by, just 1 or 2 bad moments in the game. So instead of 6 innings and 1 run, it's 6 innings and 3 runs or 4 runs. And there's a huge difference for a team that's struggling to score. 6 innings and 1 run and 6 innings and 3 runs there's quite a big difference between that.
I mean, I'm sure I'm like the entire city of San Diego when that happened. The sinking pit in my stomach that said, "Oh, okay, so we're gonna blow this one too." I mean, again, the foot on the gas. We've only seen it a couple times this year, as far as, hey, we get 2 runs and let's push across 2 more, and that's been the thing. The inability to have the big inning, and the pickoff was huge for Nelly Cruz getting picked off there to kill a rally. You can't kill rallies, and if you're the pitcher, you need to stave off rallies as best as you can. And listen, I mean, nothing against C.J. Abrams or Layden Thomas, good baseball players, good young baseball players. Yu Darvish is a veteran. He's got to get those guys out. He's got to get those guys out, especially in that position, and hold that lead. Thank God the boys battled back and got it for him. But you do pick each other up as a baseball team. But yeah, the lapse is just it does feel sometimes a little snake bit. That this team is a little bit snake bit, and they're afraid to win. You can't be afraid to win a ball game.
And happy for you, ended up getting the victory, evening his record at 3-3. You, Darvish.
Oh yeah,
Darvish. All right, I see some calls coming in. Let's play some Take on Woods. All right, got Eric as our contestant today. Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Hello. Good morning.
Hello. All right, we got one more of our theme this week of things you drive on. Your categories today will be street scene, which are 5 song titles including the word street, or hit the pavement, which would be 5 different types of roads in song titles. Similar, but a little bit different either way. You're going to pick one of those, and if you can beat or tie Woods, we will put you into the drawing for our grand prize May monthly drawing, which is coming up pretty soon. 2 nights at the Westgate, Las Vegas, and tickets to Little River Band. Huge chart success in the 70s and 80s. I was just listening to some Little River Band yesterday. They're going to be performing August 5th, 2023 at the International Theater at the Westgate, Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Yeah, no surprise there, Paulie. So, Eric, of those 2 categories, street scene or hit the pavement, which one would you like to play?
I will take street scene.
Street scene. All right. So we're looking for 5 song titles that include the word street. You'll have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, you can pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First questions are 2-second song. Paulie plays the music. You need to identify it with both the song title and the artist to score that one, and we'll go on from there. Eric, you ready to play?
Ready to go.
All right. Remember the category street scene. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Eric. Let's take on Woods.
That's going to be Baker Street by Gary Rafferty.
Correct. Director Jonathan Demme asked Bruce Springsteen to write which song for an Academy Award-winning movie he was shooting with star Tom Hanks.
Streets of Philadelphia.
Correct. Inspired by people cooling off and spraying fire hydrants, Marvin Gaye co-wrote which Motown classic for Martha and the Vandellas?
Ooh, pass on that one.
Bono sings I Want to Take Shelter from the Poison Rain in which opening track to U2's Joshua Tree album?
Oh, pass on that one too.
Which hit was the first single written and sung by Michael McDonald after he joined the Doobie Brothers?
Ooh. Streets of Laredo?
Incorrect. Let's go back to inspired by people cooling off and spraying fire hydrants. Marvin Gaye co-wrote which Motown classic for Martha and the Van? Time is up. You got the first 2, and then things cooled off a little bit. That was Dancing in the Street. Didn't know that was written by Marvin Gaye, but good song. Bono sings Where the Streets Have No Name on U2's Joshua Tree album. And the Doobie Brothers is taking it to the streets. So that is 2 points for Eric. Let's bring Woods back in. Hang on the line, Eric. We'll see if that score holds up in today's category. Woods doesn't get the category. So he had a situation earlier this week where he kind of guessed wrong on the category and it threw him off.
Killed me.
We'll see what happens today. 60 seconds back on the clock.
Let's go.
Time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Eric.
Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty.
Correct. Director Jonathan Demme asked Bruce Springsteen to write which song for an Academy Award-winning movie he was shooting with star Tom Hanks?
Streets of Philadelphia.
Correct. Inspired by people cooling off and spraying fire hydrants, Marvin Gaye co-wrote which Motown classic for Martha and the Vandellas?
Dancing in the Street.
Correct. Bono sings I Want to Take Shelter from
Where the Streets Have No Name.
Correct. Which hit was the first single written and sung by Michael McDonald after he joined the Doobie Brothers?
Taking it to the street.
That is 5 for 5 and a win for Woodsy today by a 5-2 score. Eric, thank you for playing.
Why do I get the half-ass applause when
You get the golf clap.
I get the golf clap. You made it look too easy. Sometimes maybe if you hemmed and hawed a little bit and acted like you pulled it out of the
Out of the
Just
fire.
out of the recesses of your brain, like, oh, what is that?
What is that one?
Oh, it's where the streets have no name.
Baker
You get a bigger
Street,
applause.
Polly, is one of the best songs ever.
It is. I agree.
Foo Fighters do a really good cover of Baker Street. Very, very good cover.
Lost Jerry Rafferty in the last couple of years.
We did. We just shouted out to his
Mhm.
family. I don't know him for much else than Baker Street, but Baker Street, I mean, you write a song like Baker Street, you're good in my book. That's a jam.
There's Right Down the Line
Ooh,
is
God,
another
that's a
really
good one.
good Jerry
It was
Rafferty
you,
song.
woman, right down the line. Oh, it's such a good song.
Yeah.
All right, two
Definitely one of my yacht rock favorites.
two knocks for Jerry Rafferty is it's a pretty good career, buddy.
All right. Thank you for playing, though, Eric. We'll have a game of Real or Fake tomorrow and a Throwback Thursday for those who aren't so musically inclined. Give you a chance to qualify for Las Vegas. We got Don't Do This coming up next. I've got another follow-up Do This for our friend Michael Block, the PGA Tour pro.
Oh, he
who
had a really cool moment.
The hole-in-one. He had a fun moment that I think any person, especially athlete,
bro,
would be jealous of.
We
yesterday.
are Michael Block lovers on this program.
Yeah.
There is I can't get enough. Michael Block content.
That is coming up next with Bennett Woods after Check of Traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't Do This
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Got Adam Jones coming up, his regular Wednesday feature at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned for that. First, though, don't do this. I'll start with a couple of our stories that make you shake your head. And I'm going to begin with Aaron Rodgers today. Had his first little blip as a member of the Jets yesterday. Missed practice due to a minor calf strain. It's fine.
That's a blip?
It's a blip. It's not a big deal. That's not what I'm calling out on Don't Do This.
That would be weird if we did Don't Do This he got hurt.
I understand that
Don't do
everything is new and exciting for Aaron Rodgers right now. Spent his entire career with one team, goes to a new team. It's all kind of fresh.
He also spent his entire career in Green Bay.
In Green Bay.
He's now the king of
now in New
New
York.
All right, I get that as well. So here's the quotes though. It's been like a dream month so far. Every day I wake up excited about coming to the facility. Now the commute being 2 minutes really helps. Just rolling out of bed, heading to the facility is nice. I have an excitement about coming down Jets Drive. It was surreal for sure and strange to look at my locker and see number 8 rocking Jets gear. A little bit strange for sure, but every day been a little special sign or synchronicity or cool moment that reminds me I'm in the right place. Now you're probably thinking, Ben, why do you have a problem with that? That's exactly what
That's
you
what I'm
should be
thinking.
saying.
I'm literally sitting here thinking my friend and co-host hates when people are happy.
All I'm saying is that if you look at the history of the NFL, the Packers have always been considered a top flight best franchise in football.
So your Don't Do This is you don't buy this.
The Jets, meanwhile, have always been considered pretty much the biggest embarrassment in football.
Yeah, since 1969.
This feels to me really weird that you've gone from what everyone says is the classiest, best organization, maybe in all of pro sports.
Yeah, they're up there for sure.
To the biggest joke in football, and all you can do is glow every day about how wonderful it is. And am I the weird one for being a little bit skeptical, saying, are we talking this up a little bit too much, trying to will it into reality how great the Jets are? What a great organization. This is the New York Jets we are talking about. They're one of the most disappointing teams year in and year out.
It is weird. It's like, man, it's wild driving down Jets Way. And you think about, some of the legends that have come through, Chad Pennington.
Now, you've gone from the Jets
Rich
to the
Kotite,
Packers.
Brett
This
Favre.
all
Brett
makes
Favre.
sense.
Yeah.
This all makes
Broken
sense.
down Brett Favre.
Jets to the Packers. Oh, man. Being here with the Packers, this is a revelation. This is amazing. I'm with the Green Bay Packers now. Going from the Packers to the Jets, though, I don't know. I'm kind of rolling my eyes at all of these Aaron Rodgers quotes every day.
If there's one thing he does do is he induces eye rolls. That's what he's a great quarterback, but he will induce an eye roll or two. I also am guilty of that as well. This was an interesting one. I learned something new. This was pretty nuts. So New York Yankees reliever Michael King. Did you guys see this? He had a faulty PitchCom device, and he tried to take it off and throw it into the dugout. Well, he didn't throw it into the dugout. It kind of frisbeed on him, and it went into the stands, and a fan got it. And the fan was sitting there pushing buttons on the PitchCom. It was a woman, and she was pushing buttons on the PitchCom. Now, it was broken. It was broken.
Totally broken, or only
it was totally
a little
broken.
bit broken?
Now, he overshot. He was like, I'm throwing it in there, but oh God, oh no, into the stands. Now
I was also thinking the other way. If you could still hear, though, could she start yelling out what the pitches are?
Fastball!
Here comes a fastball!
Here comes the slider!
So he says, quote, I got nervous because I know you can call time for PitchCom, but I didn't know if you could do it for a transmitter malfunction. So I just took it off and chucked it. I thought it was going to land in front of our dugout. Then it took off like a Frisbee. I saw it floating. Then I saw it almost hit a fan. And apparently they were hitting the button. Luckily, it wasn't working. Security guard goes over and grabs it. Aaron Boone says, yeah, we got it back. But he had no idea that in a Major League Baseball memo, any club that loses a transmitter or receiver will be charged a replacement fee of.
No, let me guess.
Guess
All
how much
over under.
Okay.
I'm going to say
You go first.
$400.
Okay.
I was gonna say like $2,000.
$5,000 to replace your pitch comp.
$1,000 for a pitch comp. Someone's being overcharged for their pitch comp.
And he said, I had no idea. And he will said he'll be
You
a
can
little,
get like
little
4
more careful.
iPhones for that.
Yeah. $5,000 fee.
So
What else does the pitch com do other than
Park
just
your car, mows your lawn. Yeah.
So with technology being what it is, and like people like hackers being what they are, how long until somebody in the crowd like hacks into a
That's
pitch
right. Yeah.
comp?
Get into the signal and starts messing with it.
Let's
Yeah.
be honest. They're probably working on it in Houston and Los Angeles and New York as we speak. And we're not, which is a problem in and of itself.
Finally, a little doo-doo this on a Wednesday.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
Just more fun for Michael Block, the PGA Tour pro at Arroyo Trabuco Golf Club in Mission Viejo, who captivated America with his run at the PGA Championship, including his hole-in-one on Sunday on the 15th hole. Said yesterday he's sorry if he hasn't gotten back to you, if you've texted him. Literally can't keep up. Just scrolls and scrolls and scrolls. It's never ending. Can't even get to the bottom of any of my feeds to see how many or who's seeing me, so it's been crazy. But he said, I did have time to return one particular text message that he got. It came
This is
from
unreal.
Michael Jordan, texted Michael Block. Went to the trouble of finding his number.
Well, you know why, too?
Texting him.
Because he was wearing J's.
He was wearing Jordan shoes, golf shoes
So
at,
cool.
at Oak Hill. Block said, I'm a big Jordan guy my whole life. A little kid in Iowa saving $100 to buy a pair of Jordans back in the day. So what did Jordan text him? He said something kind of in the way of what he saw is why he loves the game of golf so much. But can you imagine to look at a
can't.
text and go, hi, what's this number from?
Gotten
Hi,
some
this
cool
is
texts, but
Michael
man.
Jordan texting you.
I got one. One of the cooler ones I ever got was the other night after hanging out with Hoffy at the Cure, and I wasn't sober, and I got in the car, and he said, "Hey man, thanks for hanging tonight. Great seeing you." And I was like, you could see like the little hearts fly out of my heart. Like,
Well, and when you
in a
said I've
cartoon.
been listening to the show, and you guys have been
And you
doing a
guys
great
been doing
job,
a great job.
that's
I was like,
pretty surreal.
Yeah, dude. So that was really cool. But I mean, this is not a knock on Trevor Hoffman. Michael Jordan is like, that's insane. Isn't that nuts? He's scrolling.
I mean,
He's like-
Trevor Hoffman's like the Michael Jordan of relief
yeah,
pitchers.
that's absolutely true. Hall of Famer, 100%. But like you're scrolling through and you're like, oh, there's Bill from the club. All these guys from the club are texting.
So many guys
Oh,
from the
there's my
club.
cousin. I haven't
Yeah.
talked to that SLB in 14 years. Oh,
High school classmates.
what's this number? Hey, it's my. Did you see?
Do you
a weird-
believe it?
Yeah, I
Let me
do.
see.
Well, did you?
Is that you, Tolbert?
Is that you, Tolbert?
This isn't funny.
I'm hungover.
Did you guys see who one of his best friends is? Albert Pujols. He considers Albert Pujols one of his dearest,
Michael
closest
Block.
friends. Michael Block.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is he a member at the club
Gotta be.
after his time with the Angels?
Gotta
Maybe
be.
that's how they
Gotta
ran
be.
into each other.
Yep.
So
He probably gave him some lessons and stuff like that. But yeah, what a cool story. He continues. I have no idea how he's going to fare this week, but I
I'm
can't
cheering
wait to
for him.
see.
I'm
Yeah.
absolutely cheering
What a
for him. He'll
good
tee it
dude.
up tomorrow at Colonial at the Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
We were just talking about the Padres off day activities, team bonding, team building, going to dinner, watching the basketball game together. We're going to ask Adam Jones when he joins us next a little bit about that off the field stuff.
Oh yeah,
How
Let's get
important
into
that
it.
was when he was with the Orioles and in his Major League Baseball career.
My guess is that he was a ringleader of it. Don't you guys think? Instead of
that.
being dragged along, I feel like he was one of the guys that this is just a guess.
Did he want to do the things though that the other guys wanted to do?
Yeah. This is why I'm so glad we
See
have him on.
telling a young Manny
Young,
Machado, let's go.
You get your ass out of that hotel room, dude.
Going to dinner.
Yeah, you text Yane later. She'll be fine. She's not going anywhere.
Manny probably didn't want to go.
She loves you. She loves you. Just come out. We're going to dinner. Yeah, I can't wait. We'll get into that next.
Adam Jones coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You can join our executive producer, Paul Reindl, that guy over there, tomorrow from 1 to 3 at Ralph's in Encinitas, at the corner of El Camino Real, Encinitas, in that big shopping center. Going to be there for the launch of Slater's 50-50 beef and bacon hot dogs. Grab some for Memorial Day weekend. Also, it's your chance to pick up a pair of tickets for games against Pittsburgh coming up in July. Baseball.
Good ass team, fun
tickets.
team to watch. Like, those were the ones you circled on your calendar. Go, oh, cool, easy dubs.
But mostly
here.
you hang out with Paulie,
Yeah,
which is
hang out
fun.
with
Come on out. Ralph's
Have an
Encinitas,
appearance.
tomorrow, 1 o'clock.
Paulie likes when you just linger around the table for the whole
love that.
appearance. It's the best. It's one of the best
If
things
you
about
do
doing
that,
appearances.
I will actually show you exactly where Stephen Woods' house is. It's not too
It's
far
not
away.
very
We
far.
can go, we'll go
Mine
for
is
a little
also
walk.
quite close to that.
Yes, it
Ralph's.
is.
I'll
You'll
take
be in
you.
the
We'll do
neighborhood.
a Encinitas
Yeah,
tour
a little tour.
for all the lingers.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Speaking of Paul Reindl, Paulie, hit it. That music means only one thing. Let's go out on a Wednesday on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, and we are joined by our friend, the 5-time MLB All-Star and World Traveler, Adam Jones, is back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, AJ.
Gentlemen, good morning. I'm boring my wife because she's been here for 37 days straight. So, yeah, she needs to get out of the country.
Yeah, you better take her somewhere and do. Mine is going
I
to
see that.
Mine's going to New York actually this weekend and going to go check out the Padres Yankees in Yankee Stadium. So she's excited
gonna be
about
nice.
that. Should be nuts, man. I mean, they're playing well. You know, a lot of teams playing well. It's nice to see the Pods though get on the right side the last couple days. AJ.
Big win last night. Obviously, Soto's getting hot. I mean, not say getting hot. He's swinging the bat. Last night was great. Familiar territory. He knows that batter's eye like no other.
Yep.
It looked that way. Again, it was a good win. Darvish did his thing. It was good. And I mean, I know there was a lot. Mackenzie Gore was definitely pumped up. Well, I watched the first couple innings, and every fastball was, 97
Yep.
plus. Seeing Abrams, have a good run. It just shows you. I mean, that's the plethora. That means that the Padres were able to trade away players to get another really good player, and those players are good. So it's a product of the Padres farm system also, as they can groom and grow players. So going forward, that means that, if they were to get a trade, you're getting quality players opposed to names and just bodies. You're getting really quality players. But it was a good win. And, you build on it back to back. Let's get a streak.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was just telling the guys, I woke up this morning, our buddy Craig Calcaterra writes a newsletter, AJ, and I read it when I wake up in the morning and it kind of recaps all the games. And I was reading the highlights of every game, and it was, Colin Ray does this, and it was bam, 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 ex-Padre, 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 ex-Padre for every team. Sure, man, you think, man, it'd be nice to have David Bednar in the bullpen, or it'd be great to have so-and-so and so-and-so. AJ catches a lot of grief. He catches a lot of grief for not being able to develop talent. That man can scout with the best of them, as guys are in the big leagues right now that he scouted and found and traded. And I think you have to give him credit for that. Certainly, guys are contributing on seemingly every other team just because of the sheer volume of trades that he does.
100%. And I was told when I first got to pro ball, it's like, hey, I get that you got drafted by the Mariners. Congratulations. You're interviewing for 29 other teams.
Yep.
You don't know what's going to happen. And most trades that happen are the ones that are at the lower levels that we never hear about. Like Zach Gallen, I guarantee you most fans have no idea he was a Cardinal. I guarantee you nobody knows that. He played with Ozuna and he played with Rosarina. Most people have no idea about that. They just think, oh, he just came up with the Diamondbacks,
Yep.
or he was in the trade with the Marlins. But it's like there's so many people and so much fluctuation at the lower levels of minor leagues. We hear about the top 100 prospects, but when we dig into the trades, you hear the player to be named later. No one ever really follows up and like, who is that guy? But there's so much talent, and AJ has done a terrific job. I mean, not just in San Diego, but in Texas. He's just been a baseball nerd and a baseball mind that is just a scouting guru. And, that's why every time I'm around him, he's just always looking like he's analyzing something. And he's great for baseball in that regards because he spins too.
Adam, I was watching the game last night. Nice ovation for Juan Soto when he went up. Not a huge crowd Tuesday night, Washington, D.C., but I started thinking, What's the fan dynamic like over there? Because I think like Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, they're closer than like Petco Park and Anaheim.
Yeah.
Those are two really close teams next to each other. And do you see that? I mean, how do people decide which team they're cheering for and that whole community there?
Well, there's no such thing as a damn Nats fan. Let's just get that out. There's no such thing. Obviously, when they went down there, when they went from Montreal, and they worked out the thing with Peter Angelos and the Orioles owner and Masson. It's still a long, long litigation. If you feel like reading that whole entire thing, they're still in cahoots and stuff over that because the Nationals took over the DC market and Northern Virginia. Because let's be honest with ourselves, if a team is 15 minutes away from you or an hour away from you, where are you going to go if you still love baseball?
Yep.
You can watch your favorite team, the Orioles, but I'm going to go to this place. It's closer. It's a brand new ballpark. It's easy. It's accessible because it's closer. So we understood when they came and when they start winning, okay, a lot more fans were down there. They start getting really good crowds. We both were good at the same time, which was really, really good for, I guess, the entire area. But let's be honest, there's no such thing as a damn Nats fan. I just think it's a Orioles transplant fan who is it's just a lot more accessible. My brother-in-law, he walks around with a Nats hat. I'm like, how the hell you got a Nats hat? And I can give you every Orioles hat possible. And he's like, I got an attitude. I'm like, you ain't got no damn attitude. So I think proximity. Obviously, they've had fantastic players with Harper, Strasburg over the years, and Soto, obviously. So I think they do have a fan base with the young ones. But if there's somebody that's like 45, like, yo, I'm a Nats fan, smack him right in the damn face.
I got an attitude. So good.
I got an attitude.
It's fantastic. Adam Jones joins us here on Ben and Woods this morning. There was a piece this morning. I know a lot of the guys were really excited to get out of town because it gives them a chance to get together and bond. They all, I guess, most of them got together and watched the basketball game the other night, Lakers Nuggets, and they said most players were there and everyone getting together. We've asked you before your favorite cities to go out and do stuff, but how important is that, number one? And number two, what was your role in the cheerleading and getting the guys together on the road? And how important do you feel that is?
Well, I mean, obviously it's the bonding time. You're away from your family and all that. You don't want to eat dinner alone. It's easy to go back to the house late night, after a game and, eat dinner by yourself, watching TV. That's easy. But when you're on the road, you don't want to go to dinner by yourself. So you have a friend or a crew or a group of guys that you generally hang out with. When it came to obviously the finals and the playoffs, anything, if the Lakers were anywhere near me, I would try and do anything I could to get a ticket. I'd ask people if they wanted to, but also if there was a playoff game in the city that we were in, and I didn't care who it really was.
Yeah.
If the Lakers were there, I'd bend over backwards for it. But if there were just an NBA playoff game at the time, because that's when it starts, I'm 100% trying to be in the building. If there was a hockey game, I'm trying to be in the building. And most of these guys love sports and they love hockey. So I would always round up guys and be like, hey, I'm trying to get a couple tickets. Anybody's interested? A lot of guys would go to concerts, but there's downtime that we do have, and a lot of guys fill it with other guys. Obviously, the NBA playoffs is huge. You got Miami, so you got a lot of Latin players live in Miami. So it's just camaraderie over something else, and you get to you for a couple hours instead of somebody yelling at you, you get to yell at somebody else. Why didn't you cut? Why didn't you miss that? That shot was wide open. Why didn't you do that? You know what I mean? And instead of somebody yelling at you, why didn't you do that? Hit the cutoff man or something.
We know now Manny's kind of a homebody, spends time with his family and that's a lot what he does on the off days. But back when he was younger and you were the vet, did you make him come out? What were off days like with the young Manny Machado?
He was still the same way.
Yeah.
He liked to just be at home, be at the hotel. Just leave him alone, man. Let him just, I mean, obviously right now you've seen his house. Hell, I'd be at home too. I wouldn't want to leave. Okay, if you leave the house, you're like devaluing everything. It's like degrading to yourself. So don't leave the house. But no, him and Scopey were always together. And, every once in a while I try to get them out, take them to dinner when they were younger. But for the most part, Manny and Scopey were together and they like to just play video games and just stay under the radar, stay out the way. And, I think that worked out perfectly for them because, being young and being really good, being known because our team, the Orioles, were good at the time, and being an all-star as soon as he comes up, people knew who he was and recognized him. So I think he just learned early that it was just a lot easier just to stay my ass at home and stay in the hotel, order some room service. I can go out to dinner, but it was just a lot easier to just stay at home and mind my own business.
Not just Manny's home, but seeing on Instagram his personal chef and the meals that he gets. Did you ever do a personal chef?
I would
Adam?
never leave.
What? I got one now.
You got one now.
Of course he does.
What? I've had one since the day my kid was born. My wife was like, okay, cool.
Jealous.
I did this for you, man. I got you. Look at the kids here. I'm just going to watch him. Somebody going to cook for you. But no, I mean, it's personal chef is so efficient because it makes sure that you're getting exactly what you need. It's like everybody. When you ask, what's for dinner at 1 o'clock, we can think about it. When you ask for dinner at 7, we're eating pizza. So when you don't have to think about it, it's a lot easier.
Oh, and in terms for a professional athlete, you're getting the right ratio of your proteins,
your
and
macros, whatever
right
those
calories.
are.
I mean, if we had a personal chef, I guarantee you, we'd all be much, much healthier.
Yeah, there's no
right.
question.
I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But
I'm telling him he be needing more protein. He be eating a little 3 ounces of filet and a little small ass piece of fish. Like, bro, get yourself a little 8 ounce, get it Oscar style, and get something. Let's go. Get some au jus or something.
Back to the on the road and hanging out stuff, AJ. Joe Musgrove and Rugi Odor, they're both talking about it. Rugi said, look, you don't have to be best friends to be a great teammate. And I like that quote a lot. You see what some teams do, seemingly Baltimore, who I know is your other great love. Those guys really seemingly get along. We're not in the clubhouse. We don't cover that team, but the chemistry is certainly there. Chemistry can certainly help. I've never been a big fan of forced activities, and you never want somebody to feel like they're being dragged along. But in your opinion, what kind of an edge does that give a team to be really, really tight off the field as well?
I mean, 100% is trust. And the thing is that when the Orioles and the Padres are two completely different teams right now. You got a lot of free agents, you got trades, you got guys who aren't original of the organization. So that's going to be different. These guys are coming from different perspectives of organizations. With the Orioles right now, you got majority of guys with the same exact philosophy of what the Orioles have taught.
Yeah.
Manny's been in 3 organizations. Soto's been in 2. Bogarts has been in 2. You got Musgrove, who's been in 3. Darvish has been, I think, in 5. So you got different perspectives in that regard. And again, it's no different in either shape or form, but when the Orioles, it's just they got one philosophy that they all know, and it's all beating working in the same direction. So, their flow works. Obviously, they have no expectations in terms of pressure applied to them. They have not a high payroll, so there's no pressure on them. So everything that they're doing right now is icing on the cake, and people are still waiting for them to drop. But they just have this. They just play with such a I need that money mentality, and when you have a lot of guys with that hunger, you have that. The Padres, you got a lot of guys that are broke off, and again, that's not changing how you play the game, not changing how you approach it or your mentality or your effort, but it's just different. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different. 0-for-5 is different when you got a few years on the contract. 0-for-5 is a little different when you're a DFA candidate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or there's somebody on your tail. So it's just 2 different perspectives. It's not bad either way. It's just 2 different perspectives. It's like Oakland. Oakland's got a guy, you call just a bunch of random guys. You don't even know their name. I was playing with my son a video game earlier today in baseball, and he's like, I don't know who these guys are. And that's no fault to him not knowing. It's just there's so much turnover in the game with a lot of different teams like Baltimore and Oakland and, certain teams. So, you just got to keep that chemistry, but you got to understand that it comes from different sources. Like Odor has been in different organizations.
Yeah.
So he's going to see things. He's with the Yankees. That's completely different philosophy than Texas and then San Diego. So he sees things different.
I'm going to forever remember this as our Natitude conversation.
Oh, the best.
I
got a Natitude, AJ.
AJ, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Always.
There's Adam Jones on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. We'll wrap up our second hour right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan. By the way, Adam mentioned not recognizing many of the A's players. One of their most productive hitters right now is former Padre Esteury Ruiz, who was dealt from the Milwaukee Brewers in the offseason in a three-way trade.
Oh, don't forget OPS God, Brent Rooker.
Brent Rooker as well, yeah.
You guys see who has the longest current on-base streak in baseball?
No.
Jurickson Profar.
Jurickson Profar.
Of course.
Hey, that's not
They're all
on
over
us.
the
That's
place.
on him. He left us. Don't forget. He
That's
wanted
true.
more and he walked away. That's
true.
not on us or anybody else.
So if you tuned in yesterday, you heard my pitch. The
No.
Holiday Bowl is looking for a new sponsor.
Yeah. We don't have any
And-
money, but
And I feel like, at least for the time being, we can make the argument. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours.
Yeah.
We'll help you find the new sponsor by being the temporary placeholder sponsor for the Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl. We are going to enter into negotiations on the air
Live on the
with
air.
the executive director of the Holiday Bowl, Mark
What's the
Neville,
Holiday
coming up
Bowl?
in about 20 minutes. So either this gets done today or it doesn't, but we're going to find out soon
oh God.
on Ben and Woods.
I'm not
Stay
ready
tuned
for this.
on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Mark Neville was his name? Neville.
He's good on the air.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right, we are halfway home on a Wednesday. Is that right? Yeah, Wednesday, May 23rd. Ben and Woods 97.3.
Don't you know by the open
It's
music?
the 24th. Damn it, Paul. The 24th. That's a demerit. I'm going to take away 3 Odyssey points that I had awarded.
Don't do that.
Thank you for the 20 Odyssey points you awarded me this morning. I really appreciate it. One of the coolest things I'd say about working at Odyssey is the ability to give out Odyssey points to your friends and coworkers.
Felt like you really earned it.
Apparently, if you get 100, 200 points, you can trade them in for things.
Yeah, right.
Like merchandise.
Yeah, for sure. So I got 20 coming to me today.
Very nice.
From Paul, thank you. Have you ever gotten any Odyssey points?
I did get some on. I think I got 5 from a salesperson at some point.
Oh, that's nice.
Giving me 5 total.
There's
Odyssey
no cash
points.
value to those.
No,
I would
but
like
again,
to
you
trade
can
them in for cash.
You can trade them in for Odyssey merchandise,
like a Odyssey phone charger.
Yeah. Coffee tumbler of some sort.
Maybe an Odyssey crisping sleeve would be a good one to have. A lot of good feedback about the crisping sleeve segment yesterday here on Ben and Woods, and a lot of people asking us about what we're about to do next, the Holiday Bowl, and if we can get in there and you see Jimmy Kimmel's got his own bowl. The Barstool has their own bowl, I think.
The Arizona Barstool Arizona Bowl.
Yep.
So it seemed like the logical next step.
The Ben and Woods Bowl.
The Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl. I'll share. We don't need to. It just doesn't need to be the Ben and Woods Bowl. Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl is
okay,
fine.
I like that too.
We don't need to change the entire name, the tradition and history of the bowl game. They're just looking for a sponsor, and we're sitting right
that
here.
hurts us in negotiating if we want to just start changing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. We're here to help you guys.
Instead of red coats, we're gonna wear green.
Right. No. We'll stick to your traditions. We just want our name on
We're
it.
not going to be difficult sponsors. We understand that when you're not bringing a lot of money or any money to the table, that you can't necessarily call all of your shots.
We're going to need those naming rights for the price of On the House. Is what we're going to do. What we're going to need.
But we have a platform,
right,
that we think can help you
sell tickets,
achieve your goals at the end of this year.
Sell it out.
A sold out Holiday Bowl, maybe finding a higher paying sponsor at some point. We're fine with that.
Sure.
You let us know. Hey, these guys are coming in. They're going to pay us big money. You're out. We understand that. We're looking to be the placeholder sponsor for the Holiday Bowl. Now, if it's 3 years of placeholdering and, on ESPN later this year, they're doing the highlights of the Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl, not going to hate that.
Nor will I.
Let's go to Petco Park in San Diego. It's the Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl.
Is there a statute of limitations on how long they'll let us placehold?
Well, I just think until they get a new title sponsor, we will be the placeholder title sponsor. That's my goal, at least in these upcoming negotiations.
All right,
with Mark
Are
Neville,
you
their
handling the
executive director.
lion's share of this?
I'll try.
All
I'll do
right.
my best. Padres continue their series against the Washington Nationals tonight. Ryan Weathers gets another start. He actually, even as good as Michael Wacha has been, Ryan Weathers has the best ERA of any starting pitcher for the Padres this season.
Good.
But making his 5th start of the year, and he'll be going up against a San Diego native, Rancho Bernardo's own Trevor Williams, who signed as a free agent with the Nationals in the offseason, got an ERA, not bad, somewhere in the 4s right now for the Nats. Will make the start for Washington tonight.
Pitching pretty well, and has kind of bounced around a little bit, looking for a home, an opportunity. He's got another year left on his deal after this one, so he's pitching for the next contract too, and Nats took a shot at him, and he's delivered pretty much. So,
Yeah,
but he's a beatable guy. I mean, he's a guy you can go out and beat.
My guess is that when he entered free agency, it wasn't like Nats or bust.
Nats or bust, yeah.
Probably looked around at other opportunities. It was starting to get a little bit later, and the offer came in, a couple of years, a little security. But my guess is the goal is to pitch as well as you can for a couple of years, parlay that into a new deal, maybe somewhere else, that have more of a chance to win somewhere. But right now, doing a decent job for a team that is not, expected to go anywhere this year. And that's sometimes the hardest pitching there is.
No doubt, man.
Says a lot about a guy if you can focus and still turn in decent efforts for a team that isn't going anywhere.
Yep, no question about it. We're waiting on Mark Neville now.
No,
we got
he's
him
in the next segment.
Oh, he's next.
Yeah, we're a
segment.
whole
I thought
segment
that was-
away.
Then I'm completely blew it.
Sorry. Yeah, we're at
I do
8:20
apologize.
with Mark Neville coming up.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Yes, I know.
Padres may not be on Valley Sports much longer as
Is
well.
that
This could be the
the,
last week
no
that you
way.
see. Yeah, absolutely.
So then
According to the reports yesterday, Valley Sports and their parent company missed another rights payment to the Padres. Now they have a grace period until the end of this month.
They definitely won't be the Holiday Bowl sponsor.
Probably not.
We can wipe them out.
Yeah. So if they don't make,
It's looking good for us.
if they
Process of
don't, if
elimination.
they don't make that payment by the end of the month here in May, Major League Baseball can reclaim, and the Padres can reclaim those media rights and kick them off Bally's and start producing the games themselves, probably just streaming like on the MLB app or somewhere, as opposed to finding them on Channel 56 or 694, whatever your cable
right?
system is. Yeah. Starting as soon as June 1st, you may no longer have Padres games on your normal Bally Sports television if these reports are true. Now, we also talked about at the beginning of the season, there was a chance that the Padres, they weren't going to make the payment, and then they did at the last minute.
Yep.
And we've had our normal, Don and Mud for the first couple of months of the season here. And everything that they're saying is that the broadcast teams would stay the same. It would just be where you are finding the games would be different. And they might not even be on television at the beginning. It might only be streaming for a while. I think the goal would be to find another channel to put them on. Their self-produced telecasts, but not saying that that's going to happen the first day. It might take a while. So you might have to learn how to use the app if you haven't done so already for Padres baseball. And that's like a week from now.
You just said learn how to use the app.
The app.
The MLB app?
What
I
app?
think probably like the MLB app.
Everyone
yeah.
go download the app.
MLB
right now.
TV and the MLB app is probably where you'd probably find that.
Okay. So I've got that. So that means, again, here we go.
I have it, but I'm not subscribed.
I'm subscribed.
You shouldn't have to pay for it, I believe, in the beginning.
So now I could. Well, how long are they going to give?
I don't know.
A month. Hey, a month free, and then it's $69 or whatever it is. I know if you're a Verizon customer, you can get MLB TV, which is the app, for free. But now that would mean if this goes through, it's pretty much the only reason I have cable. So that would be the time.
It will be fascinating to see how many people, in the month of June cancel their cable or DirecTV subscriptions in San Diego, because literally the only thing they had them for was to watch Padres baseball. It'll be an interesting case study that will show what these new media rights will, how valuable they really are, because cable companies, they see tons of people unsubscribing. Well, that shows you how valuable sports products are to what they are doing.
And who would be shocked if, let's say at the end of this month, it all burns to hell and everyone cancels, right? Then June, we're on the MLB app. And then in July, they figure things out and they go back to cable, and everyone's like, oh my God.
I mean, that's a nightmare, because then you got to call and you got to get the boxes, and I'm going to have to drive around and turn in like 6 boxes.
Hey, I was just kidding. I love you guys.
Can I get a new deal?
Well, it's interesting because right now the only thing the Padres care about is distribution. They want as many Padres fans as possible to be able to see their games. They don't care what Bally makes, on advertising, and they're getting their rights fees, or we're getting the rights fees from Bally's, but they want the games to get out there. Once the Padres are producing those games, and that's an expense that they have to, production expense, and then they'll need to start selling their own advertising for those, mid-inning breaks and stuff. It changes the equation a little bit. It becomes part of the revenue stream for the Padres, and they'll be looking to maximize at some point the revenue of their broadcast stream, because they won't be getting the giant 8-figure payments from Bally Sports anymore. That's a big part. I mean, they get a lot in tickets and concessions and parking, but the TV rights are a major revenue stream for a professional sport. So you turn those into zero is what we're talking about here, possibly next month. The Padres are going to need to find a way fairly quickly to start monetizing that and making money off their television broadcast, which are, some of the most highly rated programs, obviously, in San Diego are Padres telecasts. So yeah, they're going to want to obviously make money off of that. Who wouldn't? You'd be crazy not to.
I got to imagine that they're going to try to make it, if that does happen, that puts your customers, if you're the San Diego Padres, your customers are us and everyone listening to this radio program. Those are your customers, right? And it puts everyone in a bit of a tight spot. And I got to imagine, to soften the blow, until you can get your media rights, naming stuff figured out, you're going to have to make it easy on people.
I agree.
You are.
Yeah,
You're going to have to wear it, eat it, whatever it may be, to let people consume your product, right? I mean, you're going to have to. So I don't know what kind of deal you got to work out with Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball I know you said the Padres will be producing it, but Major League Baseball will then it will be under Major League Baseball's umbrella, and they can decide what they want to do and how to distribute it, I would imagine. And then at that point, what? You stream on everyone's going to be streaming on the app. So now I got to go buy a Fire Stick for 3 TVs that don't have the MLB app that I can just download onto my TV. I mean, it's a bit of a nightmare. It's a bit of a nightmare.
A lot of questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Somebody says Bally's goes away and MLB starts doing the broadcast. Will the blackouts go away? I believe they
would
will.
have to.
They have to.
They have to.
Otherwise,
You
nobody in San Diego would be able to watch.
You can't watch our team, that's a nightmare.
Because right now, unless if you have you have MLB TV.
I do.
You also have cable. If
Yes.
you didn't have cable,
Yeah, they would not be blacked
you would
out
not be
in
able
the
to
San
watch the
Diego
Padres
area anymore.
Yeah,
right now.
Paulie, what don't I pay for at this point?
Yeah,
Fair enough.
my guess would be it would be pretty much like if you're an out-of-town Padres fan, you can just call up the app any day and watch the Padres game, just like if you have MLB TV subscription, just like we can call up a Rays game or a Reds game or a Mariners game and watch it if we pay for that. If you're out of town, you can just call up a Padres game. I think that's what'll happen in San Diego. They'll just lift the blackout and you can start watching the Padres games the same way you could from out of market.
Which is kind of a bummer to think about, because you sit there and think, oh, cool. If you can just lift the blackout, you could have done it the whole time.
Oh,
You could have done it the whole time.
Everybody knows,
and
they
that's
would.
why
They're
you
choosing
saw.
not to.
But
That's
Valley
why you-
Sports is the one
Doesn't
that
want
always
them to.
prevented.
I get it.
They want you to have to buy their product, which means sign up for a cable or a direct TV package, because they know if they just lifted the blackout, well, who would do that? They just get their baseball game. So it was in their deal that they weren't allowed to do that. If they're out of the picture, Padres then can do whatever they want with their deal and lift that blackout in the local market.
Jake says, so does that mean we can only watch on our phones? Not exactly, but you'll need to watch via an app in some capacity.
You'll need to
Whether
cast it from a phone or
your
a laptop,
computer,
cast it
somewhere to a
laptop,
or to
TV.
the
Yep.
TV.
Get a Fire Stick.
Fire
on,
Stick,
on the Fire Stick.
Roku.
Roku.
And as I said, eventually, and I don't know whether eventually means a week, a month, a year, they will want to produce those games onto a channel. What kind of local channel that is, I have no idea. I mean, hey, Channel 10, we can put the Padres games on if we worked out a deal somewhere on your dial, hopefully in San Diego. They will eventually be putting those games, but I wouldn't count on that in the first, day or so for that to happen. You should have to be ready to stream those games somehow starting next week.
So, yeah, you work for Channel 10.
Yes.
And would they then, Channel 10 locally, Channel 10 ABC, need to stroke a check?
Probably not.
How would that work?
The Padres
Okay, because
the Padres would probably be doing selling all their own advertising and anything. So we wouldn't be making.
You'd be a host.
Money. We'd just be hosting the time.
Would there not be?
But you would get the ratings for the highly rated.
But if you're not able to sell any of it, it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe if you can put on a show after it that gets good ratings, that's why.
But would there not be competition from the local?
I mean, my
Fox,
guess is
CBS.
Yeah, well, my guess
NBC.
is none of those, because we have to show, American Idol and all those shows. We can't really preempt them.
Right.
So it would be hard for a network like CBS, ABC, or NBC locally to do that, because so many of the games are 6:40. They go until 9:30. What happens to all the regular programming? I don't know. So it'd probably have to be on an independent channel or a digital channel. We have sub channels like 10.2. Now, I don't know that people know how to find those as well. They're
Never heard of it.
on digital TVs.
Yeah, I got that for everyone.
But that is also a possibility that some digital outlets on your television as well could be an option to find those games. I have no idea what they're going to do. I don't know that I'm sure they've discussed it 1,000 times with Eric Grupner, in the offices of what the plan is going to be. But as for the rest of us, we have no idea.
Wow, man.
All right, we're going to come back, our own media rights negotiations with the Holiday Bowl, which could potentially be the Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl by the end of our next segment. If everything goes well.
Yeah.
I mean, tentative agreement, get a contract
handshake
faxed
deal
on over.
Now we got to be careful
and
with those handshake deals.
We can
We've
get
been
it
burned
done
before.
with Mark Neville, the executive director of the Holiday Bowl, coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's check traffic. Be right back here on 97.3 The Fan. I must say I'm a little nervous right now. I haven't done a lot of these business type negotiations before, and I don't know how this is going to go. But I pitched this idea on the show yesterday. I contacted our next guest on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, Mark Neville, the executive director of the Holiday Bowl, because I saw that they are in need of a new title sponsor, and they're hitting the pavement right now,
hitting the bricks.
Good sales guys going out there looking for a big corporation to step in as they were and get all that attention, but that can take some time. These are complicated deals, and my idea, Woods, was that at least in the meantime, as a placeholder, how about at least temporarily we call it the Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl, and we get our Tier 1 Army to support the bowl game and give it a lot of attention, and then I think that helps Mark ultimately with his goal of achieving a long-term new sponsor. So we welcome Mark Neville onto Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Mark. Thank you for your time.
Hello, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I apologize in advance for my very opportunistic, fame-hungry co-host. We're going to do a little good cop, bad cop here, Mark. But no, I got to imagine, it's tough. It's tough. Like when you lose, anytime you lose a sponsor for anything, whether it's our radio show or, a massive holiday bowl, it's kind of a tough putt, and you got to kind of rally the troops and find out who the next partner is going to be.
I will tell you in all seriousness, we are very grateful to San Diego County Credit Union. They've been a sponsor of our organization since the early 90s. And title sponsor of the Poinsettia Bowl from 2005 to 2016, every year that bowl game existed. And then they've been in the Holiday Bowl seat ever since then. And they've been wonderful partners. Hopefully we continue with them in another capacity, but nothing bad to say about SDCCU.
Now, Mark, this isn't my idea either. There's a Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. I know, Jimmy's not writing a giant check. That's a bit of a promotional deal on both sides that works for everyone. He puts people from the bowl game onto his popular television program. We have a popular radio program in San Diego. I don't know if you saw, but #1 station here in San Diego right now, Men 25-54. That's your demographic as well, Mark. I mean,
wow. You're making a good picture.
He really is I'm impressed.
I just need to say one thing, though. I've been with the Holiday Bowl now for 32 years, and I can't believe my career has sunk to this level.
Now, Mark, it hurts. I understand there's some trepidation. We don't need you to change all the stationery. I get it. There's an infrastructure investment in a title sponsor that can be prohibitive, I'm sure. We don't need you to change all your stationery.
Let me just say one thing, Ben. If this was the Gwynn and Chris Holiday Bowl, that has a nice ring to it.
That hurts.
The John Quintero Show Holiday Bowl flows off the tongue.
The Coach Bowl.
The Coach Bowl.
Coach's Holiday Bowl.
How about the in-season Sammy Bowl?
In-season Sammy Levitt Bowl.
Post-game show host there.
It's not bad.
And so usually I'm always, when we go out and sell this, we are pitching the prospect. Now I kind of feel like I'm on the other side of the table.
Being pitched.
You're being pitched right now. I think, it's a kind of a you scratch our back, we scratch your back sort of arrangement.
He's not getting much scratching from us, though.
I think we can give a lot of scratching, Woods. I mean,
it's a bad look to not have a sponsor, Mark.
I think
really
so,
is.
too.
Even for like a week.
People like our show, Mark. You're gonna attach yourself to a rising rocket of a brand, the Ben and Woods brand in San Diego. And even if it's only temporarily, I feel like you're going to reap the benefits from this.
So let me ask one thing of you guys.
Please interview us.
If this was ever to be considered, which is a long shot at best, but if it was ever to be considered, we do background checks on our partners.
I'm out.
And
that's it for me.
So
it's
I
the
wonder.
Ben Holiday Bowl.
The Ben Holiday Bowl. I am 100% out.
The Ben Not Woods Holiday Bowl.
Ben Not Woods.
Sorry. Okay, I just wanted to be clear
think
on
about that.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I will say there's a lot more to it now than just the Holiday Bowl. Our organization is the Sports Commission for San Diego. So we're known now as Sports San Diego. We have the Holiday Bowl.
We have a good relationship with Annie Heilbrunn.
Yes, great
that helps us at all. We do well with her.
Yeah, we love Annie.
Yeah.
And then we also just started, you might have seen the Rady Children's Invitational College Basketball Tournament. That will be starting this Thanksgiving.
Lion
That's
Tree
part of our
Arena. Yeah,
organization.
looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The California State Games are going to be coming under our umbrella as well. So there's a lot of benefits to this and a lot of responsibility here.
Can we at least
Sounds like
get
a lot of work, man?
Can
A
we
lot
at
of
least
work.
get some giant inflatable Ben and Woods balloons
No,
at
you
the
already know.
balloon parade?
I'm already out.
One of me, one of Woods, going down
Yeah.
Harbor Avenue every Christmas time.
I don't know that anyone would want to see that.
No, it's
Well, Mark,
I mean, we
right?
already look kind of like giant balloons just in our normal
Mark,
everyday lives.
Ben now takes CBD, so he's not passing a drug test. So I don't know. The whole thing is now moot. I mean, my background, Ben's drug addiction. This is probably not a good fit at the end of the day, even for $0.
Right. So I'm picturing this 50-foot tall helium-filled balloon with a red-eyed Ben Higgins
Yeah, just
coming
high.
down Harbor Drive.
Yeah, just high. Putter
Yeah.
in his hand.
This is not going
No,
like I
that's-
anticipated or hoped it would be going.
Well,
I'm just going to be
Well,
really
I'm
disappointed.
curious.
How did you?
How did you think it was going to go?
Yeah,
I-
$0 sponsor.
I thought you were going to jump at the chance to work with a couple of good guys who are entertaining on the radio and, really could push your bowl brand to the next level without really costing you anything. I mean,
The opportunity cost though is like millions. You realize, right? By signing
Yeah.
with us,
again, placeholder. That was part of the argument. Placeholder. I'm not stopping him from negotiating
do we
with
even
anyone.
have to ask for his permission to be the placeholder? We can just say it. Nobody's going to stop us, right?
Will you sue
Oh,
us?
we will.
Oh, you will.
Will
Yeah,
you
our-
sue
our
us if we
attorneys
start
will-
calling it the Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl?
Probably get that graphic
Our
down.
attorneys we got a great counsel, and he will be all over you. man.
Yeah, because Polly has already made some of the graphics for
They
you.
look
You
great.
don't even have to do any of that.
It looks so good.
We have some of the we could release it right now. We'd be ready to go.
Yeah, we are ready.
We got a
I would
great
love
merch
to see
store.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we
merch
can get
store.
T-shirts going very
Sure,
quickly.
quickly.
Very up.
Well,
You can
here's
get a
something
coffee
I would
mug
like
with
to-
it printed on. You can all be drinking out of Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl coffee mugs at this
Mugs.
time next week.
Yeah.
Well, could we negotiate into this that I would get to take on Woods?
Anytime. Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime.
Yeah,
you can do
there you
5
go.
days a week. We can play one right now if
Okay.
you got one
Yeah,
ready.
yeah. You want to play?
You have one ready?
Yeah,
we can literally
absolutely.
play right now.
I'm ready to
All
go.
right, let's take on Woods with Mark Neville right now. Let's do it.
Okay. All right.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. Bye, Woods.
He's gone. All right. Hit the music,
Okay.
Paulie, and we'll play the open.
It's time for Take on Woods. Take on
Woods. Woods.
All right, Mark, I actually have one category left this week. And since we're not going to be on Friday, I need to finish out our
Okay.
theme week anyway. So here's your category. It's called Hit the Pavement. We've got 5
Okay.
song titles and 5 different names for types of roads. So they're all included in the titles of these songs. I know you know how the game works. 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Start with our 2-second song. Woods has left the studio. So, Mark, you ready to play?
I'm ready to
All
play.
right,
Bring
60
it on.
seconds on the clock. Your time begins. And by the way, if Woods beats you, it's going to be the Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl. And if he doesn't, then
real
then-
quickly?
yeah.
No, it won't.
Okay. Well, we'll play
Okay.
anyway. All right. Your time begins
Yeah.
when
It
Paul plays
will.
the music.
It will, though.
Your time begins. Paul, are you ready with the 2-second
Give me
song?
one
All right.
second.
Give him a second. Cue it up here. And then we'll go. 60 say you can pass if you don't know an answer. We'll come back to it if there's time
Yep.
left on the clock. I'll even
Yep.
put you into the drawing for the Las Vegas trip if that helps us in the
Excellent.
negotiations.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
Paulie's
that's
ready.
good.
60
Good.
seconds. The category, hit the pavement. Good luck, Mark Neville of the Holiday Bowl. Let's take on Woods.
I walk a lonely road.
Pass.
The Eagles sing They Didn't Care, They Were Just Dying to Get Off, in which 1977 hit.
They didn't care. Oh, Life in the Fast Lane.
Correct. In the movie School of Rock, Jack Black's character Dewey Finn recommends to the student the keyboard solo from which song by Yes, saying it will blow the classical music out of your butt.
Odor of a Lonely Heart.
Oh no, which 1965 Beatles song features the line beep, 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 yeah.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah.
You know it.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Good pass. I'll get that one.
One of the biggest hits of 1983 was which Eddie Grant song referring to the street where the violent London Brixton riots erupted 2 years
Electric Avenue.
Correct. Go back to our 2-second song.
I I walk a lonely road.
I'm embarrassed that I don't know that one.
Okay, beep beep and beep beep. Yeah, the Beatles. All right, you did get 2 out of the 5. You get Life in the Fast Lane and Electric Avenue. That was a tough one. That was Boulevard of
singing? I was able to sing it.
Yeah, that was Boulevard of Broken Dreams by the Green Day was the 2-second song. The other yes hit, Roundabout, was the one from School of Rock. And then Baby You Can Drive My Car is beep beep and beep beep. Yeah. All right, hang on the line, Mark. We'll see if 2 is good enough to beat Woods. Here he comes in. Yeah.
You have never needed a win
more than this
one,
right now.
right here.
All right, here we go.
No
60
pressure.
seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Mark Neville of the Holiday Bowl.
For the
Holiday Bowl.
Oh, God.
I walk a lonely
Boulevard of
road.
Broken Dreams, Green Day.
Correct. The Eagles sing. They didn't care. They were just dying to get off, in which 1977 hit.
Life in the Fast Lane.
Correct. In the movie School of Rock, Jack Black's character Dewey Finn recommends to a student the keyboard solo from which song by Yes, saying it will blow the classical music out of your butt. Correct. Which 1965 Beatles song features the line, beep, 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 yeah.
Baby, You Can Drive My Car.
Correct. What were the biggest hits of 1983 was which Eddie Grant song referring to the
Electric Avenue.
Wow! Yeah! 5 for 5. If that doesn't win the title sponsorship of the Holiday Bowl, I don't know what does.
Holy cow.
Even though Mark did
You
say
know-
that wasn't really on the line, but,
It's too bad.
wasn't that
And
impressive, Mark?
Now you just embarrassed me.
I'm so
Is
sorry.
that not a good way to negotiate with someone, is to embarrass them on the radio?
Like, pull out your
Exactly.
wallet. How much cash do you have? That's it.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah.
You know
That was
what?
awesome. How do you do?
He got 2.
That's good.
You
That's
won.
good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good.
You know what? Red
Nah.
is not my color anyway, Mark.
I think
so
we at
never
least
mind.
deserve the rights for like a day. Just
Sure.
put,
Just today.
Yeah, maybe
Special
we can
day.
do that. Maybe we'll look at it for a day.
All
We
right,
can do like a
perfect. All right.
proclamation.
Just-
hey,
right?
put Rick Schloss to work. Get a press
Have,
release
have
out
tiny
them
there.
press
that
release.
one tiny press release is all really
That's
we
all we
need in
want.
this entire exchange.
Yeah.
We're looking for one press
One
release.
press
That's
release.
it, and you're done with your responsibilities.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to take that
Into
under
consideration. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
He's a very
man.
non-committal fellow. Thank you, Mark.
You have to be.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, guys.
Good luck
Have
to
a
you, my
good-
friend.
good day.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Mark.
All right.
You're
Thank you.
out. That didn't go as well as I hoped it would.
What? I smoked it.
You did,
Yeah.
yeah, but we didn't. I don't think we got the title sponsorship that I was hoping for.
Well, even if he gives it to us for a day, it's worth it.
That
It's
would
gonna
be
fun
great.
for
I would
the-
take it for
I
a
love
day.
that he wanted to play Take on Woods
I know.
so much. That made me so happy. What was the category?
That was
Streets
called.
again?
It was the whole week. It was streets. Yeah, there was hit the pavement.
Hit the pavement.
The whole
Okay.
week was different types of roadways.
Sorry, I gave you extra
4
work
different
tonight.
categories. That's all right. No, we don't have any more games this week.
Oh,
We
yeah,
got
that's
Real or
right.
Fake. We're off
Real or Fake.
on Friday. We got Real or Fake tomorrow, so we're good. That closed out.
Boy, I had a
the
monster.
theme week
That 10
category.
for 10 today.
10 for
10 for 10 today.
Yeah.
I'll take on Woods. That's how it's done, Padres. 10 for 10.
Fantastic. Here's a piece that came out that we didn't talk about much yesterday, but Dennis Lynn was writing about the catching position.
Yes.
Still is an issue. Even
A
with the
big, hot
Padres scoring
topic.
7 runs the last couple of days, offense behind the plate, major problem
And-
right now for the team.
And really has been
Yeah.
for a long
time.
long time.
Even before us, Noah,
Correct.
before that. We'll talk about that coming up. Take your phone calls, 833-288-0973. It's Ben and Woods of the Ben and Woods Holiday Bowl on 97.3 The Fan. When I'm doing my CBD, you're dipping into the coffee. Yeah. I feel, I don't know, as a fan, I feel somewhat bad about my feelings toward Austin Nola. Does that make any sense?
No, I do.
Like, I like him.
Yeah.
I don't know that all of this is necessarily on his shoulders. He was having a really nice spring. Things were looking good. And then he got hit in the face, and he came back, and he just has not produced offensively at all. He gets he takes some walks. I get that there's some value there, but you do have to hit some in Major League Baseball to have a spot in an everyday lineup.
It was a risk. It was a risky trade at the time, and it's going to go down as one of AJ's worst trades, I think. And that's, you win some, you lose some. No one hits. No one bats
Taylor
1,000.
Trammell, Ty France, Andres Munoz, all three of whom have been somewhat productive for the Mariners at times. Taylor Trammell still young and kind of shuttling the minors, but Munoz has become a really good reliever.
Ty France hit a
France was an all-star
home run last night. Yeah. I mean, look, you win some, you lose some. I mean, it was a risk on a guy that had changed positions anyway. Dennis Lynn wrote a nice piece in The Athletic talking about since 2015, Ben, there's been, kind of an issue as far as at least catchers that can hit a little bit. They kind of use WRC plus as a metric. And, Austin Hedges was well below 100. Derek Norris, 78. Austin Nola actually is the highest WRC plus of any catcher in the last, how many years is that? 9?
Wow.
8, at 86. Francisco Mejia was at an 80. Victor Caratini was at a 73.
Now, Mejia was considered a pretty promising prospect.
Yeah.
Campusano has been one of the team's top prospects for a while.
Yep.
But none of them have ever panned out. Now there's Ethan Salas in the future. I want to talk about what does the future of the catching position look like for the San Diego Padres, because Salas is not an immediate answer. We'll do that after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Got a new crash on northbound 805 right before Imperial. This appears to be blocking middle lanes. Also, a fatal collision has got East Street closed between the 5 and Broadway, so you want to avoid that area. Brought to you by the easiest casino to drive to. Viejas is just 25 minutes from downtown San Diego and one simple exit off the 8 freeway. No topsy-turvy, poorly lit roads are needed to win big. Arrive safely at San Diego's luxury gaming destination, Viejas Casino and Resort. And Kelly Danica with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And this hour on The Fan is brought to you by SC Johnson Off. This is Pretection. Yep, Pretection, the everyday skin protection ritual that protects your skin from mosquitoes. Prevention is the best protection. Off, the #1 dermatologist recommended repellent from SC Johnson. I know that I must be desperate when I keep thinking even, well, maybe, I mean, he's so advanced. Ethan Salas, maybe he could be here in a year or two. Kid's 16 years old. He's not going to be here.
No, it'll be a couple,
3 or 4 years, absolutely minimum.
You'd hate to bring him up and just kill him. I mean, he would get killed by big league pitching. You have no doubt, Ben, that he could get behind the dish and catch an inning. Or he could
catch some doubt on that either. As
I really would.
He looked pretty impressive in spring training.
So here's the thing: he caught big leaguers at spring training. There's no difference, none. He can get behind the dish and catch in a big league game today.
There is a difference between spring training and a regular season game.
If he's catching Blake Snell
but in terms of the preparation for batters and the game plans and everything, it's night and day.
Could he catch 9 innings
physically
tonight?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely, no question. Would he be absolutely embarrassed by Trevor Williams at the plate as a 16-year-old? I mean, I think so. I think he would be. Trevor Williams not the most dominant pitcher in the big leagues, but he throws you a back foot slider, one you've never seen spin like that. Yeah, I think the hitting is the one, and obviously learning how to prepare and what it takes to be a big league catcher. There's a reason you don't see.
The crazy thing is you're asking for one hit out of every 8 at bats, basically
for sure
to duplicate what you're already getting from the catching position. It's not much.
It's not going to happen. I mean, you can't crush somebody's development at 16 years old. You're just not ready, man. I mean, 18, fine, maybe like you can talk about it, but
we're still a couple of years away from that. You can't have for the next 2 years. You can't have a catcher that's hitting 140.
No,
and 2 more years.
No, you can't. And you need to find. You need to find something to fill that gap for the next 2 years. And I just don't know that Austin Nola is that guy. And I know the guys talk about, well, he brings this and brings that. And you know what? Looking at his StatCast page and all that, there's some average numbers. There's some well below average numbers, Ben. He's not. He looks. I said it to you guys off the air this morning. He looks broken. I mean, he looks defeated. Comes up last night, runners on first and second. They ask him to bunt. That already right there. Not a lot of big league teams like giving away outs these days. And when you're asked to bunt and you kind of know I'm scuffling. If I can help the team win, I will.
It was the right call, though. I think it was
they
at the time.
They threw Trent Grisham out at second base. So
it still did result in a run.
It did, but you gave up an out, which is not a recipe for success in the big leagues in 2023. It's just not. But when you're scuffling that bad, you'll do whatever you can to try to get a job done. And really, he didn't get the job done really at all in that case. But that being said, he looks broken. He looks defeated. The swing is long. The swing is loopy. He just looks, and I'm not saying he's not trying. I'm saying he's probably killing himself to try and execute, but it's just not happening. So you can't really go forward. You can't really go forward. And I don't know what the answer is. It's not my job to know what the answer is.
Is there any chance that patience and waiting for Campy to come back and hope
that's weeks away, though.
I know that's
weeks
away.
At best, that's
but
weeks
could he
away.
be at least the answer for the next couple of years until
yes, that was what they were
Ethan
hoping.
Salas returns?
That's
you
what
still have some.
That's what they
some
were
hope
hoping.
that could be the midterm solution for the Padres at the catching position, because honestly, we haven't seen enough from Camposano to even know if he's going to be a decent. And we're not looking for an all-star. Padres are looking for just a guy who can be flat average behind the plate.
We just can't find that guy. We just can't find the guy that can throw a runner out, that can hit a little bit. I mean, 225, 230 is a dream for our catchers right now. That can run into one every now and then. There's no power. There's no slug. I mean, you look at the F4s, and Dennis Lynn did a good job. He put the F4 in there as well for these catchers. Austin Hedges had a huge F4 because of his defense. Austin Nola's F4 is 1.1 compared to Austin Hedges 5.9. That's how valuable he was defensively. Not saying I would want Austin Hedges back here. I don't. But as far as offense goes, and really in comparison to at least two of the other guys that we've had here in the last 8 years, Austin Nola's right in the middle of the pack. But it's untenable. I mean, it can't go on. But I don't know. I don't know who that person is. I don't know what a package for Yasmani Grandal looks like. White Sox have been winning some games recently. I don't know that they're keen to let him go right now. I have no idea. The AL Central is kind of a joke. So it's kind of anybody's division at this point. So I don't know who thinks they're out of it. I don't think the Royals are going to trade their captain, Salvi Perez. I mean, he is the captain. He wears the C on his chest. I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't know what you do.
It's a good point. The White Sox have been pretty bad. They're 20-30, but that division
is awful.
Is so bad that they're much closer to first place than the Padres are right now. They're 5.5 games out from the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
So why would they, or really any other team other than maybe like the A's or the Royals, even think about giving up right now? And as you said, it's Salvador Perez not going anywhere.
I wouldn't imagine.
People keep saying, the Atlanta Braves, they've got two great catchers. Just grab one of them. Why would they?
Why would they?
Especially to a team that they probably still consider one of their three main rivals to win the National League this year and go to the World Series. Why on earth would you help the Padres out in any way?
You wouldn't.
Unless you got something, absolutely critical that you needed back. But what are the Padres offering? Not a big leaguer right now, correct?
Right.
I mean, the Braves aren't going to give up a key catcher for a minor league prospect, even a really good one at this point. That doesn't make any sense for them. They're competing against the Padres for a National League title this year to go to the World Series. Why would they make it harder by giving them the Padres? Even if they were overwhelmed by a deal, I think that would probably be a pretty easy no for the Atlanta Braves at this point. So forget about that possibility as well.
Yeah, JWW in the chat says, Grandal also hasn't played a full season since 19. And if you want to carry three catchers on your roster, all right. Well, so what are you giving up for that? You're going to have to lose a piece off the bench to have Nola, are you just DFA? So you're going to do two. You're going to have to DFA somebody. Is it Austin Nola, who the pitchers do like? They do like throwing to him. But if you go out and get a Grandal or somebody like that, which again is going to cost you a fortune if the White Sox are even looking to move an aging Yasmani Grandal, who can still swing it. He can still swing it and good leader, all that. He's got all those intangibles as well. But man, you've missed so much on a catcher that it's coming back.
And
to
there's
bite
not
you.
much on the street. I mean, the Mets picked up Gary Sanchez. He's hitting 167 in his first 20 at bats with no extra base hits. There's just not catchers out there.
No.
They just don't exist at the moment. It's a weak position across the board in Major League Baseball. I'm always stunned when I hear on the broadcast, the Padres are 28th in offense at the catching position. I keep going, there are two teams worse than the Padres in the catching position in Major League Baseball. Who could they possibly be at this point? You're getting no power. You're getting nothing. I don't even know. I think they may have dropped to 30th at some point, but I heard that like a week ago, and that was my first thought was, really, there are two teams that are worse off behind the plate than the Padres right now.
It always seems Nola comes up with runners on, a chance to break a game open or to tie a game. And I want it for him, man. I do. I'm not actively rooting against him. I really like him. We've interviewed him the last two spring trainings. When he first sat down year one, I went, oh man, this is going to be, because there are baseball players you're going to be like, that guy was boring. He was great. He was fantastic. And we had a great rapport with him.
When Joe Musgrove pitches, would you consider using the designated hitter for Nola and letting Joe bat himself?
At this point, man, I'm turning over every stone.
All right, 3 hours in the books, 1 hour to go. Paulie's got some headlines in the Reindl Report coming up, including an NBA, finally a non-sweep in the NBA playoffs. That's next on Ben Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Since we were just talking about it, just saw Kylie McDaniel from ESPN, their baseball prospect expert. We've had Kylie on before.
Yep.
Just released a new top 50 prospects in baseball list. You did not, but Ethan Salas did at number 28. Wow. Jackson Merrill, number 9.
Oh, killer. Okay.
So Padres with 2 of the top 50 in the top prospects in baseball. Despite having traded away their entire farm system, they still have 2 of the top 50 prospects in baseball. So, that's average or slightly above average. There's 30 teams, so not every team can have 2 on the list. But the Padres do have 2 on the list, and rather high on that list as well.
I'm not the world's biggest prospect hugger. That is well noted. But it's nice to know that there's some guys down there that are getting the job done and turning some heads.
You can appreciate the value of prospects without hugging them. You need to have prospects, whether it's to call up or to trade.
Oh, yeah.
You need to have prospects.
Yeah, no doubt.
You don't have to hug them, but you need to have them. Yeah. And the Padres have always had them under A.J. Preller.
They have. They always have, and we've moved quite a few of them. A lot of them are doing good things this year. But, somebody made the point in the chat. Look, it's kind of hard to fix the unfixable right now. And if you can get more production, Ben, or upgrade at other positions where maybe there are people that can help your team, that's actually a pretty decent strategy as well. If you were going to look to replace another player, if you were going to look to add, to get Cronenworth back to second base, where his OPS is very high. I don't know the correlation, but if you want to go out and get a first baseman, they're a hell of a lot easier to find than a catcher, right? And so if you upgrade some other positions, well, then that hole that, Austin Nola, Brett Sullivan have been is not so glaring because you're getting production from some of the other guys. Maybe if you're looking to upgrade center field, I know Trent had a great night last night. That may be a little easier to do as well. So kind of focusing your attention on another part to get that better. So then, then there's not 3 or 4 holes.
Even if you do nothing, if you get, production from Odor and an occasional Dixon bomb. I mean, Manny will be back fairly soon. You won't see Dixon in there, but Trent Grisham does what he does last night. Well, you're absolutely fine. You're
that's
fine
asking a lot. You don't somebody do that every day.
Yeah, you don't need to have every position be an all-star offensively. You just can't have 3 or 4 of them in a row at the bottom of your order be hitting under 200.
Yeah, I like that take of fix the fixable. Honestly, and upgrade. If you want to upgrade the upgradable. Right? I mean, if there's no catchers out there, don't spin your wheels going to look for a catcher. Roll with what you got, because let's be honest, as far as the runners stealing and all that, at the beginning of the season, it was massively evident that it was on the pitchers. I mean, massively. Like Blake Snell does not look over, does not slide step. Guys were just halfway the back. Ryan Weathers is really the only one that does it with any effectiveness at all. The rest, Darvish doesn't really care about runners on base. Guys will swipe bags on him. Joe's okay. But you go up and down the lineup, Ben, they're stealing off the pitchers. Like I said, and like JWW says, fix the fixable, and if you can do that, then maybe you have a shot.
Did get a tweet here from at Rick Felix, who says, if Odor keeps hitting, should Kim be worried about playing time once Manny gets back? I think the Padres would give up a little defense for some more hitting. I don't know if worried is the right word, but I mean, Kaselin Kim is actually everything he's doing. I think he's got a 5-game hitting streak. His offense has been more than respectable in the month of May, especially considering his level of defense. So he's going to remain, as long as he's hitting like he is now, he's going to remain a very valuable member of the Padres. Yes, good problem to have. If everyone's hitting, including Odor and Manny's back, and you can put Odor in against a tough righty and feel like you're going to get some good at-bats and maybe a hit or two, of course Odor is going to play if he's going to get some hits. Of course he'll play.
Yeah, platoon him.
And it may occasionally be at the expense of Kim. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. That's not something for people to worry about. But I do want to make it clear, Ha-Seong Kim is not the problem right now. He's giving you what you can hope for at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. And I just, look, the Fernando Tatis Jr. had a chance to drive in a run last night with runners in scoring position, didn't get the job done. I know he got the sacrifice fly. But yeah, I mean, there's really nobody other than Juan Soto right now where you feel super, super confident that they're going to get a knock. I mean, really, like you're looking at lineups. You're saying, oh yeah, he's gonna get he can get a knock. He can get a knock.
I mean, had Soto been on deck, there's no way Odor would have tried to score on that sacrifice fly.
I don't think so.
They would have let Soto try to get a hit. But with Ha-Seong Kim on deck, let's be a little more aggressive and see if we can score.
Yeah, it's wild because the theories that we had preseason, I mean, they really couldn't have been more wrong. And you watched even how they tried to attack the Padres hitters last night out of the Nationals bullpen, which had, Mason Thompson, who was a Padre for a minute. We traded, was it Mason? It is Mason, right? Traded him for Daniel Hudson. I mean, he was wild as hell, but what's everyone trying to do to this team? They're just throwing heat.
I always get confused between Mason Thompson and Mason Saunders.
Mason Saunders is Mad Bum.
Yes, he's right. Madison Bumgarner's rodeo alter ego.
But they're going after this team with heat. They're just throwing heaters at them. They're just like, all right, I throw 96. Can you hit 96? You haven't shown that you can. Last night was a better indication. They were talking about it in the post game of guys being on the fastball a little bit more last night. And look what happened. You hit 4 bombs. You won by 3. You scored 7 runs. So they can get on time for the fastball. Things are going to be okay.
More Padres talk in a minute. But first,
and get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah?
All right.
Oh yeah.
Let's say the mood has been blessed a
Little bit
this week, right?
Boy, it'd be nice to get one more dub tonight.
Just get the series win out of the way. Just get the series win out of the way.
And then we're out of here.
Then we're on here. All right, guys, we'll start off in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets, they swept the Lakers a couple days ago. They are awaiting their finals opponents, and the Eastern Conference Finals are going to go on a little bit longer. Miami had a chance to close out the series last night. They lost at home to the Celtics 116-99. Miami leads that series 3-1 now. Game 5 is going to be tomorrow night. Jason Tatum had 33 points leading the way for the Celtics.
Boy, Kluger said yesterday, and I missed this.
This was shocking
because I'm not on Twitter, but when I walked out of the room, he said their ESPN was giving the Boston Celtics, Ben, a 42% chance of coming back and not winning last night's game, winning the series. 42% felt massive.
Almost a coin flip.
That's not reasonable.
No.
But it just goes to show you the metrics of this series have always favored Boston immensely. They were still favored in the series when they were down 2-0. You can never say that, I'm predicting Boston's going to come back and win 4. No team has ever done it in the NBA.
Right.
0 and 150.
42%. I'm like, how do I get in on those odds?
However, 2 of the next 3 games would be at TD Garden, including Game 5. So all they have to do is win at home in Game 5. They'll be favored in that game. That gets them to a Game 6 in Miami. All the pressure will be on the Heat there in Game 6.
Absolutely.
Massive pressure. Because then they lose that one. They got to go back to Boston for a Game 7. And then it is really panic time. So, I mean, if I'm the Heat, I treat Game 5 as though it's basically Game 7. I know it's on the road, but you're going – I don't think you want to let Boston get one more win in this series. You probably shouldn't have let them get last night. You were up 9 in the third quarter. The Celtics finally got hot. They hadn't been shooting. If they keep shooting, they can win this series. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. It's going to happen at some point, just like it did in baseball finally with, by the way, a Boston team. It's going to happen at some time in basketball. Will it be this series? Probably the best chance we've seen in a long time for a team to do it, I'd say.
Still, hence the 42%.
Still remains a long shot. I think longer than 42%, but
pretty nuts.
It's not impossible.
All right. Saw this morning in the NFL. Adam Schefter reporting that the New York Jets, we talked about them earlier for different reasons, are hosting Matt Araiza for a workout today. He's been out of the NFL since he was released by the Bills last summer. And
that was only last summer.
Yeah. August, I think. Right around training camp,
Yeah.
in training camp.
Yeah, it was right as they were getting started, I think. He was there for the first preseason game, but then he didn't play.
Right.
And then the Bills let him go. Tells me that his media tour has been at least somewhat successful.
Yeah.
His interview with
feel
Kimberly
confident.
Hunt and all the other people that talked to Matt Araiza in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's been a lot of developments over the last couple of weeks. Yahoo Sports has been all over it. And I think it was just last week, San Diego State officially announced that they had an internal investigation and they found no wrongdoing by him, that he was not at the party at the time of the incident. And so he's
seemingly in the clear,
and able to, try to get his NFL career
get his
back.
life back.
I'll say this. As with any situation, a he said, she said situation, we will never know the entire truth.
No.
In fact, even sometimes the people involved don't
remember
the entire truth of what happened that night. So I'm not going to make a judgment one way or another. I will say that given there's been enough evidence that's come out that Matt Araiza deserves to go on with his career at this point, to move on and have an
100%.
opportunity
Yeah.
in the NFL.
Agreed.
And if he can show that he can still be a huge leg and punt, I would expect him to get that opportunity. An NFL team shouldn't be afraid of this at this point of what his character is or what's coming out. Enough has been in his favor right now that I would, if I was an executive, I'd feel okay about it.
Yeah, fair
Again, and I don't know what happened and don't know who was in the wrong. Not going to make a comment on that, but just from the evidence and the perception now, it's time for him to get a chance.
Yeah. Civil case still ongoing.
I think
but
still ongoing.
The
And maybe a
school did their
surprise will come out that we don't
investigation.
know about, but it does feel like the police investigated, the prosecutor investigated,
Like
the
Jets,
school
the
investigated.
Jets aren't like jumping the gun or anything.
They
right?
didn't find anything that would have him.
Now, it's interesting because didn't the Bills say that they were aware of all of this when they drafted him?
No, they weren't when they drafted. They were not.
Really?
Yeah, they did
I
not
thought
know
they
about
were.
this. I don't think so. Some teams were. I don't think the Bills were.
Maybe that's what it was. Some
Yeah.
NFL teams were
Yeah.
aware. I don't know. All right, and then finally, a surgeon in Germany was fired because he had a hospital janitor assist him with a toe amputation surgery.
I am just looking forward for Woods' somewhat problematic German accent to
Oh,
come out in
right.
the story
I don't understand.
because he was fired.
You can't, if you're a doctor, if you're a surgeon, and you are performing surgery, you can't ask the janitor in the hallway to help you remove
Greasy hands and what have you. You don't know where those hands have been.
But you don't really know where anyone's hands.
Well,
have
I
been,
assume
to
the
be
surgeon
honest.
has done the whole thing where they wash their hands very carefully, like for 5 minutes, and then don't touch anything, and they have the nurse put the gloves on.
Oh, is there more context?
Not really. I'm reading.
What
from
did the
AD
janitor
here.
do?
So-
Did he
so me?
just chop off the toe himself? Did
So
they
this
need
happened.
some garden shears or something?
So this actually happened a couple of years ago. It came to light this week in the AP. I don't know if the case or whatever just ended, but it says here that the surgeon decided to go ahead with the routine procedure, even though there were no qualified assistants around to help him.
buddy.
So he had
It's like-
the janitor.
Get in here.
It's like that time Tim Flannery asked me to warm him up on the
Now it
side
says-
of the
Oh
field.
my
at Qualcomm
God,
Stadium.
what a nightmare.
There was no qualified people who said, Ben, grab a glove. All right, I'm not qualified to do this.
How embarrassing was it?
I was okay. It wasn't bad. I was nervous.
Did you short hop him a bunch?
No, I got it there. I was okay.
How far?
It was
60 feet.
Yeah, about 80 feet, maybe
80
a
feet?
little longer than pitching.
Where is
Bound
the
length.
video of this?
No one was
You just
there.
need
It was,
a camera
it was
crew
a
to
day
follow you
game,
around.
empty stadium. No one was out there.
You got to
Me and
warm
him.
up Flan though. It's
I
pretty
did. That was
badass.
pretty, he was going to throw BP, and I had to warm him up.
I've always had to, the bucket list stuff. Just have a catch with.
He would have
have
picked,
a catch with Manning.
He would have
be-
picked someone qualified
Yeah,
had they been available.
they've been there.
but they weren't. Just like this doctor, I'm sure would have rather gone with a nurse, a medical assistant, but they weren't there.
Yeah,
so
the patient was on an anesthetic,
Yeah.
and he became restless, I guess. And so the doctor asked a nearby janitor to help hold the man's leg and pass him the surgical tools.
All right, hold him down.
And said the incident.
Get that wooden spoon and shove it in his mouth.
The incident came to light after a hospital manager spotted the janitor, bloody gauze pads in his hand, just hanging out in the operating room.
Dominic wants to know if that happened in Frankfurt, Germany.
Frankfurt.
Surprised Ben missed that one. But did he die?
No.
Still alive.
Then what are you complaining about?
Yeah, everything's fine.
He was supposed to lose it.
Well,
would
right?
you be upset if you went in for surgery and then you came to and realized
I'd be mad I lost
the
my toe.
janitor was helping you
if
out?
the surgery went fine, why would I care?
Yeah, I guess if it's fine, it's fine. But
now, if
the
something-
janitor's a hero.
if there was a complication and you got a huge infection because of the janitor, then yes, I'm suing the hospital and everybody. But if the surgery went
the headline
fine,
read that the surgeon was fired.
Yeah,
I don't know about the janitor.
He brought him in. No, it's I mean, people deliver. You know, you're a hero if you deliver a baby on the side of the road, right? You're a hero.
have you done that before?
No, God, no. No, thanks. Couldn't. I'd call for help, but that's as far as I could go. I couldn't get down there.
You couldn't do it.
No. Did you get down there?
No.
No. I stood at the head.
I mean, I wasn't really asked to.
Would you have?
I mean, if I had to, if like we weren't going to make it to the hospital, yeah, I could have done it. Might have been traumatized for a while, but I could have done it.
So when you had your kids, though, you weren't down at the.
I mean, it was on the side. I mean, there was a.
Yeah, I know.
You
It's
know,
fine.
a
We're
blanket,
good.
a sheet of some sort.
Right. We're good. Like a fort.
It's been a while.
Like a fort over the
For me,
legs.
it's been
20 years.
20 for one and almost 18 for the other. I have foggy memories.
one
Yours
of
are much
it
more
was-
fresh.
It was one of the most traumatic things I've ever been through. My poor wife. Really, you standing there like an a-hole as they cut her open. to Give me my children.
Got an update on our Ben and Woods bet. You can see it behind me.
I'm getting crushed.
Right over there. We'll get to that coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Got plans this Memorial Day weekend? Take 97.3 The Fan with you, no matter if you're hitting the pool, at the grill, lounging at home, or remembering our troops. Download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. Search 97.3 The Fan. Hit play. Plus, you can find us on your smart speaker, too. Just tell your device to play 97.3 The Fan. Nice job by the Padres going out. How many times this season do you feel like we've seen them go 1 out, 2 outs?
Yes.
And then actually score some runs. Juan Soto gets a standing ovation, walks up in the first inning, takes the first pitch, lines it right back up the middle off Mackenzie Gore. He said after the game, I hadn't faced Mackenzie Gore before. Wasn't his teammate like these other guys, but they said, throws hard. This guy's tough. He said, I didn't want to fall behind the count. So just went right after it, just laced one, like 110 or something, right at the middle. Really smoked it up the middle. And then Xander, nice at bat, goes the other way. Didn't really think it was a home run off the bat. Probably at Petco wouldn't have been. Brandon Dixon's, by the way, I saw would not have been a home run at Petco Park. Are you kidding me?
It would not
was
dong.
in the second deck in center field in Washington. They say would not have homered at Petco Park, but on the road, you get a little more flight on the baseball, and the Padres get some early offense. They add on, and even when they gave up the lead, they were able to bounce right back. But getting to Mackenzie Gore early and getting his pitch count up was kind of key as well. And it also helped me win our daily bet, our $10 bet that we have. You set the over under on Mackenzie Gore strikeouts at 6.5.
Yes.
Yesterday. And
we strike out a lot. And I know he's got nasty stuff. What did he end up with? 5?
He it was a tough one. I look back, his last 4 starts, he had like 9, 4, 7, and 3 strikeouts. So he certainly could do 7, no problem. He's done that a few times this season. I will say this, though. I went with the under, thinking Padres get his pitch count up. I'd be surprised if he goes more than 5 innings. He didn't even get to 5. He got to, 4 1/3 or 4 2/3. Had 5 strikeouts. Didn't get to the 7 that you would have needed to win the bet. My timeline, though, yesterday, when I posted our bet, you're not on Twitter anymore. It was a constant stream of negativity. It was everybody saying, oh, no, that's easy. That's the over. We're going to go 7 innings, 1 hit, 13 strikeouts.
I saw that too.
It was just, there must have been 24 people who thought I was being crazy for taking the under 6.5.
It's a good call
on the strikeouts.
It was a really good call. I said it was your choice, and you picked it.
But are you disturbed at all by the? I know they've had a rough month, so the discouragement level is high.
I know.
Not you, but just all the Padres fans out there.
I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about. No, I know they're discouraged. I think they have every right to be, and I think every player feels it. And I think, the one place it doesn't really show up is Petco Park. The place is packed. And I was listening the other night. I was watching the game, and the only time I heard even a smattering of boos was at the end of the game, Ben. So this is still a pretty positive fan base overall, and I think the more level-headed fan, of which, by the way, I'm not necessarily the more level-headed fan. I told you about earlier in the week. That boomer does live inside of me.
Trying to be.
He's in there. I'm trying to be. It's part of my growth process as a human being to try to be more rational, right? To try to think more big picture. And it is hard doing, talking about them on a daily basis like we do. But the only time I heard boos, and it was a crap game whenever it was it was Friday. It was Friday night. And Blake Snell was terrible. The guys played terrible. He scored 1 run. I was waiting. Somebody grounded to a double play late. I was waiting for boos to rain down upon the guys, and I didn't hear it. And I thought to myself, all right, people are still, the place was packed. It was jammed. People stuck around for the end. At the end, when they lost the game, you heard a smattering of boos, but it certainly wasn't anything where you went, oh my God, the fan base has turned. No, dude, they're still buying merch. They're still stoked about the moments they're creating. They're still showing up at Petco Park, having a great time. You don't ever want to become the Cubs of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, where it's like, we're just lovable losers with a great ballpark experience. Bro, there's still a ton of stars here that if they figure it out, this team will be in it at the end.
I understand why double plays often, they're 2 outs, so they're very frustrating. But usually if you hit into a double play, it means, first of all, you make contact.
That you probably don't celebrate that.
No, but you probably hit it pretty hard. It just didn't go in the right place, or you didn't quite get it up in the air. You missed it by just a hair,
a smidge
on a double play. and you're close to being what you want to do in those situations. Yeah, a guy has a non-competitive at bat and swings at 3 balls that are in the opposing batter's box on sliders and looks lost. Even I might even throw out, boo. That's.
I would love to see.
But
you boo.
if a guy hits a laces a 2-hopper
seed.
that just happens to go right at the third baseman and
it's such
makes a nice
bummer.
turn and goes to first, you tip your cap to the pitcher and the other team. Made a good pitch. You put a good swing on it.
I mean, even
didn't
Blake
go where you wanted it to go.
Even Blake didn't get crushed by the fans that night. I mean, it was a clunker. It was a clunker. And I think, with this team in this city, getting a taste of success last year, just a taste of what it could be like. I think everyone's still learning how to react and how to handle. We're no different. None of us are any different. We're all trying to figure it out. And but I'm not surprised that there was negativity on Twitter, Ben. That's like saying this water is very wet. It's so wet, this water.
All right, we're going to come back bottom of the hour here. Last segment. We asked yesterday, was Sunday potentially a turning point? Well, I'm not changing my opinion yet, but signs are trending in a positive direction. We will come back and wrap things up on Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Oh, we got a new bet, Woodsy, over the break. The wager tonight, and I am now $20 up in our $10 wager.
The man who literally never wins a bet.
What happened to Fade Ben?
I know, right? He's white hot right now.
Testing the runners in scoring position predicament.
Yeah.
Over and under 1.5 hits for the Padres with runners in scoring position tonight.
I'm sick to my stomach by taking the over 1.5, but I did it.
So I did a little research.
Oh, no.
10 out of the last 12 games that would have lost. They twice got 2 hits with runners in scoring position. Every other game, it's 0 or 1 in the last 12. The last time they got more than 2 hits with runners in scoring position, May 2nd in the series opener against the Cincinnati Reds, when they got 7 hits with runners in scoring position.
Spread those out a little bit.
Since then, it's been 0, 1, or 2 every game, with a vast majority of them being 0 or 1.
You hit 4 home runs a game, though, for the rest of the season in every game. I like our chances.
As Bob Melvin said,
they're in scoring position when
if
they
you
touch
get
home
home
plate.
runs, you're in scoring position at home plate. As
exactly
Jake Cronenworth said, well, you drive yourself in, you don't have a problem.
That's exactly right.
When it comes to runners in scoring position.
Kudos to Crony. Another nice game.
I think I would have picked over as well. You got Trevor Williams on the mound, and he's decent, but the Padres lineup should be able to put together some rallies and have the opportunity. It's not like they haven't had opportunity. It's one thing if you're going 1 for 4 and 0 for 3.
Yeah,
there's a lot of 1 for
12,
1 for 10s, and 0 for 9s, and it's not like
what's our team OBP?
It's not like
guys are getting on base.
Yeah,
I feel like guys are getting
on
base.
They're almost certainly in the upper half, maybe even in the top 10 in the league in team OBP,
which is the worst because you're doing. In my opinion, it's hard to get on base. I mean, it's really hard to hit. It is. It's hard to get knocks at that level, but having so much traffic on the base paths, please be careful on the base paths tonight. Please, I'm begging you. No back picks, no dicey tag ups and caught stealings and things. Just kind of keep it under control tonight. But I'm looking right now to see where the Padres fall in OBP because I do feel like they get on base a lot of the time.
Give us the answer right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by Insperity. Got a collision involving a car and a box truck south by coastline right before La Costa. That is blocking the slow lane. Providing scalable HR services, access to better benefits, payroll, and HR technology for over 35 years. Insperity's mission is to help businesses succeed so communities prosper. Insperity HR, that makes a difference. Visit Insperity.com. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
That's not as good as I thought it was.
No, they're 18th in baseball with a .316 team on base percentage. Now, they're 30th in baseball with a .225 team average. So the gap between their average and their OBP is pretty significant. They're getting on a lot more than their average would indicate. But until the average comes up a little, it's hard to raise the OBP significantly. You have to get some hits as well.
Yep.
To have a decent on-base percentage.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a decent matchup for them too with Trevor Williams. Nothing against Trevor, he's pitching fine. But
and here's where I wanted to go in terms of was Sunday a turning point? And I said, no, it's not a turning point.
You lost the series.
You won the game, but you can't turn around your season with one win. Now they won again. If they end up going on a winning streak, they win today and they sweep and maybe take 2 or 3 from the Yankees and have a really good road trip. You would go back and say, well, what's the date? When everyone goes, oh, the Padres since May 20.
Yeah, there's always that date.
First have played really good baseball. That was a turning point in the season. It isn't yet, but at some point it may be viewed as such, especially if they can just build some confidence. It's not, I'm not a momentum person necessarily, but when you score 7 once and then you score 7 again, you do that a third straight day. You can't help but have a lineup start to permeate with some confidence. You just go up there expecting good things to happen rather than bad things to happen. It's a mindset. It's mental. It's absolutely real. It's not momentum, but it is, you do like to see some positive results and have a good mental outlook when you go up to home plate.
It would be incredible, though, if they scored another 7 runs tonight, but go 0 for 6 with runners.
Yeah, you're just all right, this is who we are now.
Games,
feast or famine.
7 games, both games, 7 runs, One for 19 combined.
Padres put up 7 runs consistently. They will be the best team in baseball.
No doubt. No doubt about
Won't
it.
complain.
No doubt about it.
I couldn't care less what
They
you're
will be the best team in baseball. However they do it, they score 7 a night, exactly 7, not one more, not one less. They will win 80 to 90% of their games the rest of the season.
Weather's on the bump tonight. Should have a pretty rested bullpen behind him. So yeah, I mean, he's pitched really, really well. He's pitching with something to prove. He's pitching with a big chip on his shoulder. Doesn't want to be sent back down. And I've liked what I've seen from him so far. So just go out there and battle, man, and try to figure out a way to win this series today. And it doesn't make tomorrow less important at all. Because stacking some wins against teams like that, I mean, you look at their lineup and you look at ours, and you're like, oh my God, how's this game even close? And it's legitimately a AAA lineup, no question. And you look at ours and you're like, all right, yeah, we should be bodying these guys, and we did. We won by 4 runs, so it's fine.
3, but yeah,
3. Sorry, yeah, 3. The late one broke Nick Martinez's scoreless inning streak.
So
Or the bullpen scoreless inning
the
streak.
bullpen was at 31 1/3. I didn't realize it had gotten that far. 31 1/3 scoreless innings by the bullpen snapped on that RBI double that Martinez allowed. But that is by far the best bullpen in baseball in the month of May. They have crushed it this month. The results, no one notices because they're not protecting leads. They're not turning them into victories. But the bullpen has been phenomenal.
Lights out, man. If anybody wants to call in, got about 15 minutes left of the show. 833-288-0973. You can call in, weigh in on your opinions on our.
I got a couple things, a little sports topic wheel for
What's
you.
that bit we used to do?
When I would just go and
when Paul and I would just be like, oh, okay, you're just reading news and notes now. What was it called?
Ben's grab bag.
It used to be golf talk.
No, yeah, that's right. No,
the grab bag.
The grab bag.
Yeah,
I forgot about the grab bag.
Well,
we had a
is,
song.
This is baseball.
Okay.
There we go. Congratulations to La Costa Canyons. Mickey Moniak hit his 3rd leadoff home run of the season, tied for the lead in all of Major League Baseball.
Mickey Moniak is an angel
now.
That's
yeah,
right.
So it's a top prospect, number 1 overall draft pick. Didn't really it took a long time. I think 2016, or it's been a while. And he finally he's hitting over 400 with the Angels, off to a really good start, though. They beat the Red Sox 4-0. On the other end of the spectrum, Mariners beat the A's 3-2. The A's are now 10-40. It's the worst start in Major League Baseball since the 1932 Boston Red Sox.
10-40.
They're very even. They're 5-20 at home and 5-20 on the road so far this season, and they are possibly going to challenge for one of the worst records in baseball history.
What's the worst record in baseball history?
Let's see. I was reading it yesterday too. Worst record. It's like the Cleveland Spiders. I don't know that they can get to that one, but like the Cleveland Spiders went 20-134.
Don't you? Oh,
that's
my
not going to happen. That is in
God.
1899.
Don't you give Mark Kotze
the second worst?
You don't fire him after this year,
The
right?
second worst by winning percentage, the Pittsburgh Alleghenies in 1890 went 23-113.
What about in the modern
The third
era?
worst record in baseball history by winning percentage right now, 10-40, the Oakland A's. No modern team has had a worse
3 of the first
record.
4 teams were all before 1900.
Yeah. Let's see.
1916, the Philadelphia
A's,
Athletics
yep.
were 36-117.
Oh my God.
And the 35 Boston Braves were 38-115.
What's like the
Mets, the ones that everyone talks about, the expansion Mets 1962 went 40-120.
I guess recently,
Yeah, like
2003, the Tigers went 43-119.
That's gnarly. That's modern-ish era. What year? 2003?
2003.
Yeah, that's modern era, 20 years ago. 40 and what?
43-119.
Oh my God. Imagine suffering through that.
The Baltimore Orioles a few years back, 2018 went 47-115.
If you got a 4 in front of your record, that's a rough.
Tigers
rough.
again in 2019 went 47-114.
Just when you think we have it bad here in San Diego, think about Detroit.
Got a couple of red hot hitters. Aaron Judge tying home run in the 9th inning in the Yankees 6-5 win over the Orioles. Potter's, of course, going to have to face him this weekend.
Just walking
at Yankee Stadium.
Just
Be
put
very
him on.
careful. Garrett Cole got his 2000th career strikeout in that game. Have you guys seen Christopher Morel?
Yes, hottest hitter
with
in
the
baseball.
Chicago Cubs. He's hit home runs in 5 games in a row.
It's unreal.
He's only played 12 games all
Yes.
season with the Cubs. He's homered in 9 of them.
That's insane.
That's pretty crazy.
9 out of 12 games.
Cubs beat the Mets 7-2. Vlad Jr. had 6 RBI as the Blue Jays annihilated the best team in baseball, the Rays, 20-1 yesterday. That was a funny final
Cheating
score.
lab closed yesterday for the Tampa Bay Rays. That's unsubstantiated.
The D-backs are hot again. They're not going away. They've won 9 out of 11. They beat the Phillies 4-3.
I don't know if you guys are like me, but I'm 100% every day seeing what the D-backs did, seeing what the Dodgers did, and the Dodgers are rolling.
Shocker, the Dodgers brought up a minor leaguer, young prospect to pitch, and did pretty well. 5 innings, 1 run for Bobby Miller.
Throws 100 easy
in his MLB debut.
Cool,
and
man.
Beat Spencer Strider, and they took the first 2 from the Braves.
Hell yes.
With an 8-1 win. Padres winning 2 in a row. They have not gained a single game on any team in the NL West.
Awesome.
Every other team has at least a 2-game winning streak in the division.
Feeling good.
All right, continuing with the grab bag. You're going to hate this one. What do you think of the new fair catch kickoff rule in the NFL? Did you see that they approved yesterday? So, like now in college, if a team kicks the ball off, but the returner fair catches it on a kickoff, like at the 5, they bring it out to the 25.
Okay.
So if you had done that before, you get the ball at the 5. If it doesn't go into the end zone, so a lot of teams have basically
kickoff, not a punt.
Yeah. So a lot of teams have been having their kickers on a kickoff on the tee, try to kick it really high, but don't go in the end zone, because if it goes in the end zone, they get out of the 25.
Right.
Try to kick it to like the 1 really high, and then we go down and cover
I
it.
don't think I've ever seen a fair catch on a kickoff.
No, well, you can't do it, because in the NFL, in college you do, but in the NFL you would get the ball right there. You don't want it with the
You
one.
just let it bounce.
So you either let it bounce, or
you can't let it.
But you can't let it bounce, because if it doesn't go in the end zone, it's a fumble. So you got to pick it up.
Get it.
So you pick it up and you run it, and you get tackled at the 18. This is a safety measure.
I have no problem
to make less kickoffs returned. A guy now can just fair catch it at the 2, goes, I don't have a return, I'll just take it at the 25. You're going to see there's already been less kickoffs now that they moved it to back to the 35, and they're kicking it further now. You've already had less kickoffs returned. You'll have even fewer kickoff returns in the NFL next season.
Don't care
with this new rule.
Don't care. It's that feels like something that you would
at some point. They just go at XFL and they just put
it
the ball
on the 25 and go. Yeah,
I'd rather.
Kick returns are exciting plays.
They
when
are,
happen, though.
But what if your dad was a kick returner and you're a little kid? No, pass. I'm good. I mean, they're fun as hell. But it's what you would make gladiators do. Like if you're the emperor, you're like
the modern
run
day.
that back, and you're like, I'm gonna die.
You got 11 guys going full speed, NFL athletes who can run and are built, and they're all trying to run into you at full speed. It's the most dangerous play in sports.
I would still like to see them move it back even further, move it back 5 more yards to the 30. And if you kick it through the uprights, you get 3 points, and then just redo it.
I had a buddy that used to return punts.
Oh, God.
He's never been the same. He's just there's a little chip missing from that. Kickoffs, punts, and fearless, like that guy that would stand in and take it and whatever. But he's never really been the same. I'm good, man. Football's hard enough. It's violent enough for the other however long the games are, Ben. It's violent enough without having those guys just get absolutely trucked at full speed. That's 2 automobiles heading toward each other, 35 miles an hour.
You can't see the guys running at you and follow
and
the ball.
Look for the ball.
You can't do it.
How many would you muff? I would muff
every single one.
9 out of 10, probably. Every ball. The oblong ball spinning towards me. I would I could barely catch a spiral, like much less.
So hard.
I'm calling your bluff.
No way.
I think right now, if this summer, if we went even to the San Diego State practice fields and you were told they won't hit you, but they're going to be charging at you, I don't think you catch one.
I get 1 out of 10.
I don't know that I get 1 out of 10, even if there was no one. It was a machine.
If I knew they weren't going to hit me, I could get 1.
They do that sometimes, like in at halftime for a contest.
Hang it high enough and they can get there, they're going to be in your grill. They can be yelling at you.
Maybe you're right.
I don't think you catch one.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Be terrifying.
That'd be awful. In all the gear too.
Plus, it's an awkward football. It's an awkward shape to catch you.
Especially all they have to do to get me. Kick it to where I have to move anything more than 1 foot.
Right.
If I have to run towards it and catch it, it's over. That's muffed every time.
Catching it on the run, such a difficult skill.
I have no problem with it.
Underappreciated by fans.
I really don't.
How hard that is.
Those guys put their.
They make it look easy, but it is not.
They put their butts on the line every week. If you want to take that out of football or limit it or whatever, as exciting as it is, fine. But
I think that's one of the secretly most impressive plays in sports. A punt returner catches a ball running, gets drilled like in the first second, and holds on to it.
Shakes it.
Like, how did they do that?
I know.
How did they even do that?
Nuts. All right, Paulie, spin it.
Yeah, I'm out of even grab bag items now. So
we've exhausted.
Unless you want to know about Austin Eckler's new deal with the Chargers.
Nope.
Okay,
good on that.
Then we can pass on
He's
that.
staying. I know that.
Yeah, they added incentives. It was a big nothing burger.
What did you want to be as a kid when you grew up?
Baseball player. Easy.
This.
Really?
Totally
Oh,
this.
yeah. No, this was what I had
broadcast sports broadcaster. 100%.
Oh, you're living your dream.
I am. Wow. This is my dream job.
I wanted to be a baseball player. I did. I wanted to be but it goes away quick, But when I was probably age 10 through 15, that's all I dreamed about was being a baseball player. And then, you don't do well in school, and your coach, you don't jive with him, and your dad doesn't cut the grass at the field in the summers. And, there's a lot of, I guess I learned at an early age too. There's a lot of politics in sports, lots, and you have to kind of play the game as well. And I was not a big fan.
I did very well at school. Maybe I should have aimed higher. Maybe I set my dreams too low.
I think you did. Oh, answer me this question. I have a mini topic here. We had our last was our T-ball party last night. So all the
did
kids,
they get you a coach's gift?
They did.
What did you get?
I got these pants from Viore.
Yeah, Viore pants.
You like those?
I do like them. That is a very unusual gift for
North
a
County,
T-ball coach. It's usually
maybe just a plaque with the team photo.
Yeah,
I didn't. I love that. I would take this any day.
I know.
No, it's a great gift.
Yeah,
it's an odd gift.
It was
to receive as a coach.
I was so happy.
Sometimes it's like a gift card to Chili's or something.
I would have taken that too, as you know. So we gave the kids trophies. By the way,
participation
trophies.
Oh,
Nobody
God.
died. Nobody died.
Oh boy.
Here's the thing.
Call now
and dream
air
us.
out Woods for participation trophies.
The look on these kids' face. It's the one time these little turds sat and wrapped attention all season because they were waiting for their trophy. So I did superlatives for each player.
You did.
I did. So I
most this and
best
most
this.
that.
Like my boy Jackson won Silver Slugger because he was just he won the home run derby. He was just a masher. So we're in the car on the way over, and Hannah goes, "What's Bo gonna win?" And I go, "MVP." And she goes, "You can't." And I go,
"Why not?"
I go, "Why?" And she goes,
Because
"I go
you don't want anybody to get MVP. You don't want anybody to feel bad."
Well,
or
she said, "You can't. You're his dad." And I go, "But he was my best player." And she goes, You cannot give him MVP. So I had to give him Gold Glove. He was so happy, though. He was so happy to win
I've
Gold
talked
Glove.
about this before. I won Most Improved, which is really the saddest one to get.
It's not. I gave one out of Most
You did?
Improved. He was so bad at the beginning, and by the last
right.
game, Ben, he was crushing
Was
the
there
ball.
was there any that you had to stretch to come up with something? Like
Not really.
Rack your brain. So you're a good.
I had
coach.
Speed Demon. I
Okay.
had the Speed Demon, the kid that always runs hard. I had Heart and Hustle. They're twins. So one heart, one
well
award.
behaved. Did you have a most
I
well
had best,
behaved?
I had best teammate.
Best
I had
teammate,
best
okay.
teammate because my man Mason wore one in the face.
Give Paul and we got 30 seconds. Give Paul and I an award right now for a show. What do I get
for today's show?
Yeah, today's show. What do I get?
Best half prepared.
Thank you.
You're
What
welcome,
about Paulie?
Paulie, best executive producer in town by far.
Wow,
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was way worse than I thought it was going to be.
I give myself the.
What about my holiday bowl idea? I
It
thought
was
that
really
killed
good.
today.
It was really
Killed.
good.
It didn't
well
work,
done.
though.
It didn't work. We didn't get
That's
it. but-
true.
But you
All
did a
right,
great
that's it
job.
for us. Coach is up next for Paul Reinl, the best
Speaking of
executive
heart,
producer in town.
Speaking of Heart and Hustle,
And
Coach John Kentera.
Stephen Woods on the half prepared Ben Higgins.